Chapter 2674. Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan also started a merciless massacre. The other party could not defend themselves against their attacks. One by one they were killed and they would stay here forever. Demons, you are demons? You wantonly killed your fellow disciples. You have violated the rules of the sect. You will be punished. The remaining people shouted. Lu Ming sneered. Previously, these people had threatened to kill them and Lu Ming and the rest had almost died in their hands. Now they wanted to use the sect rules to suppress them. When they were chasing after Lu Ming and the rest, where did the sect rules go? Ridiculous. Bam. Lu Ming attacked without mercy. He waved his long spear and sent a level 7 empty God Realm expert flying, severely injuring him. In the blink of an eye, there were only 6 or 7 people left and they were all level 7 empty God Realm experts. Split up and run. The young man with the big bow shouted in fear and shot an arrow at Lu Ming. An arrow was shot at Lu Ming but it was deflected by Lu Ming's spear. Stay here. Lu Ming shouted. At this moment, there was a sudden burst of powerful energy in his body. The battle word tactic had successfully tripled his combat ability. Lu Ming's ability had increased tremendously. Swoosh. Lu Ming dashed out and thrust his spear. A young man at level 7 of the Void God Realm turned pale with fright and tried his best to block the attack. However, there was no way he could block the attack. He was pierced through by Lu Ming's long spear. The long spear vibrated and the young man was torn into pieces. Buzz. Lu Ming swept across and another level 7 empty God Realm youth was killed by Lu Ming. At this moment, Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan each killed another person. There were only 3 people left on the other side. Now it's your turn. Lu Ming approached the young man with the big bow at lightning speed. The youth with the big bow was scared to death. He kept shooting arrows at Lu Ming but they were deflected by Lu Ming. In the next moment, Lu Ming threw out his long spear. The long spear, which was a lower rank 9 divine weapon, turned into a flash of lightning and pierced through the youth with the big bow, nailing him to an ancient tree. The youth was still alive and he let out a shrill scream. Lu Ming, go ahead and kill him. Saint Son of Fleeting Light will avenge me. Your ability is not worth mentioning in the eyes of Saint Son of Fleeting Light. No, any powerful cultivator from Fleeting Light's faction can kill you. Your woman will also have to die. The young man with the big bow knew that he was going to die. He roared and cursed before he died. If that Fuko Seiko dares to provoke me, I will kill him sooner or later. Rest in peace. Lu Ming said coldly and killed the youth with a palm strike. Pulling out his long spear, Lu Ming returned to the battlefield. Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan had caught up with the remaining 2 youths and killed them in a short while. Swoosh. Lu Ming moved and appeared beside one of the youths. This was the youth in luxurious clothes. The youth in luxurious clothes was the first to attack Lu Ming. He was severely injured by Lu Ming's spear. Half of his body was smashed and he laid on the ground, unable to move. He had witnessed the entire scene. At this moment he was so scared that he wet his pants. When he first met Lu Ming was just a demigod ant. He did not put him in his eyes at all. He never expected Lu Ming to be so terrifying. Don't kill me, don't kill me. As long as you spare my dog life, I will obey your orders in the future. I will be your dog. Please let me go. The youth in luxurious clothes screamed in horror. I don't need a dog. You can go in peace. Lu Ming said coldly. He waved his spear and ended the youth's life. Let's get out of here quickly. Lu Ming said after taking away everyone's storage rings. The commotion just now was too big. If others found out that Lu Ming had killed more than 30 disciples of the same sect, they would be in trouble. Their figures flickered and they left the place. Moments after Lu Ming's group disappeared, a rainbow light flashed in the sky and a figure appeared. This figure was the outer court deacon, Le Zhong. How could this be? Le Zhong looked at the corpses on the ground and his eyes widened in disbelief. What's going on? These wounds are sword wounds and spear wounds. They were killed by someone. Who was it? Who was it? Le Zhong roared with a ferocious look in his eyes. Could it be that Lu Ming kid? Le Zhong thought of Lu Ming. That was because the youth in luxurious clothes and the others had been waiting here to block Lu Ming. He knew all of this. However, were Lu Ming's group that strong? Damn bastards. I won't let this matter rest. Le Zhong growled. His figure flashed and he left the place. The following days were relatively peaceful. With Qiuqiu's help, Lu Ming's group obtained a lot of wood crystals from Jianghu forest. Although it couldn't be compared to the abyss, it was not bad. The 3-month deadline was almost up. Lu Ming's group headed out of Jianghu forest. Figures constantly rushed out of Jianghu forest and arrived outside the forest. Outside, the outer court elder stood in the air. Clearly he had been waiting here. Haha, how was your harvest this time? Not bad. Nestle, you actually broke through a tear. Many people met and chatted with each other. Many people had smiles on their faces. This time most of them had gained quite a lot. Hunting plant life and obtaining wood crystals could increase one's cultivation base very quickly. Many people even directly broke through a tier in their cultivation base, which saved them many years of time. Soon almost all the disciples who went in came out. However, the number of people was much smaller. When they entered, there were more than 600 people, but now there were only about 500 people left. About 100 people were missing. Obviously, these people had all died in Jianghu forest and became nutrients for the plant life. At this moment, 4 rainbow lights flew out of Jianghu forest. They were the 4 outer court deacons. They had brought up the rear and only came out now. As soon as Lu Zhong came out, he glanced at Lu Ming. A powerful aura suddenly pressed down on Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming felt like he was being crushed by a divine mountain. His body shook violently and he kept retreating. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. What are you doing? Xian Yanqing shouted, standing beside Lu Ming. The others, including the outer court elder and the 3 outer court deacons, also looked at Lu Zhong in astonishment. Brat, you killed your fellow disciples. Your methods are ruthless. Today I will clean up the sect and kill you. Lu Zhong shouted. His killing intent was cold. Without any explanation he sent a palm strike at Lu Ming. He did not give Lu Ming a chance to defend himself. A terrifying palm print pressed down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's face changed greatly. Lu Zhong's cultivation base had definitely reached the true god realm, and it might even be a high-level true god. It was too terrifying. Lu Ming could not resist at all. The difference in cultivation base was too big. It was not something talent could make up for. Chapter 2675. What's going on? The outer elder said with a frown. Elder, this kid is insane. He killed dozens of his fellow disciples in Jianghu forest. He deserves to die. Lu Zhong said coldly. What? These words caused many people to be shocked. Lu Ming killed dozens of his fellow disciples? Was that true? You're slandering me. Lu Ming wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stepped forward. He stared at Lu Zhong with bright eyes and said, Deacon Lu Zhong, do you have any evidence that I killed my fellow disciples? You're the ones who killed those disciples. How dare you quibble? Lu Zhong said coldly. What quibble? I'm asking you, do you have any evidence? Did you see it with your own eyes or do you have other witnesses? Lu Ming said loudly. Lu Zhong was speechless for a moment. Although he was sure that Lu Ming and the others killed them, where was the evidence? So, you don't have any evidence? Lu Ming raised his voice. Since you don't have any evidence, why did Deacon Lu Zhong accuse me of killing him? Why didn't they die in the hands of the plant life? Why didn't they be killed by someone else? Lu Ming asked a few questions in a row and pressed on. How dare you quibble? Lu Zhong roared and stared at Lu Ming like an angry lion. It was hard for him to defend himself. He couldn't possibly say that those dead disciples had died because they surrounded Lu Ming and that Lu Ming was the murderer. But could he say that? We've been hunting plant life in Jianghu forest. I didn't expect to be slandered like this. Elder Lu Zhong, I want to know why? Did Huang Wu ask you to slander me? Or are you from Tianhong's faction? I've offended both of them. Lu Ming said loudly. His voice spread throughout the place. Oh, I understand. I understand too. Lu Ming offended Tianhong's faction, and Deacon Lu Zhong is from Tianhong's faction. Many people's hearts skipped a beat, as if they had suddenly realized something. Lu Zhong was speechless by Lu Ming's question. There must be no evidence. Lu Ming had offended Tianhong's faction, and Lu Zhong happened to be from Tianhong's faction. Many people thought that Lu Zhong was taking the opportunity to take revenge and slander Lu Ming. This brat? Lu Zhong's teeth. Maybe. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold. Initially he was just spouting nonsense to test the other party. Seeing that the other party did not say anything, he knew that he had guessed correctly. On? The outer sect elder spoke up. He had a rough idea of what was going on. However, this was a battle between factions. He didn't want to get too involved, so he tried to smooth things over. With a wave of his hand, a divine artifact combat sword appeared. It grew rapidly and he landed on the combat sword. Lu Zhong glanced at Lu Ming coldly and landed on the combat sword as well. Then the others landed on the combat sword one after another. The combat sword turned into a rainbow light and disappeared. Not long after, they returned to the outer sect area. After returning, Lu Ming separated from Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan. He returned to his room and cultivated in seclusion. He had a lot of things to do next. On one hand, he had to refine his divine power and strengthen his foundation. On the other hand, he had to comprehend the battle character formula. The battle character in his sea of consciousness was unfathomable. Lu Ming felt that he had only scratched the surface. There was endless potential waiting for him to unearth. Now, the probability of him triggering 3 times his combat strength was 1 in 10. The probability would only increase as his comprehension of the battle character formula deepened. In addition, Lu Ming still had 2 divine skills, the 3 strikes of annihilation and 9-fold crimson gold armor. Lu Ming felt that he did not have enough time. In the following time, Lu Ming completely devoted himself to cultivation. In Huang Wu's courtyard. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Huang Wu roared. This time he had invited many experts from the Floating Light sect to kill Lu Ming in the forest. But now he received news that those experts were all dead. These people went to kill Lu Ming together, but they all died at the same time. Could not be a coincidence. Huang Wu seriously suspected that it was Lu Ming's doing. But was Lu Ming that strong? Senior brother Huang Wu, that kid Lu Ming is very strange. Should we ask senior brother Huang Wen? A lackey asked carefully. My big brother has been in seclusion recently. Let's wait until my big brother comes out. Let that kid live a little longer. Huang Wu said coldly. At the same time, the people from the Tianhong sect were also furious. Lu Zhong brought back news that they suspected that the young man in luxurious clothes and others from the Tianhong sect had died in the hands of Lu Ming. A storm was brewing. In the outer sect area where the female disciples lived, there were beautiful mountains and clear waters and countless strange peaks. In a hidden valley, Xian Yanjuan's figure flickered. Runes constantly appeared from his hands and landed on the ground. On the ground, a strange formation was faintly discernible. After a few hours, Xian Yanjuan finally stopped. He exhaled slightly and then formed a seal with both hands. With a light shout, the formation flickered and condensed into a fine ray of light. It shot into the sky and disappeared in an instant. Its speed was unimaginably fast. I hope I can receive it. Staying here will make my cultivation progress too slow. It's not a long-term plan. Xian Yanjuan muttered. He then sat cross-legged and quietly cultivated. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. On this day, Xian Yanjuan suddenly opened his eyes. In front of Xian Yanjuan, the space rippled and a gray-robed old man suddenly appeared. Uncle Hong. Seeing the gray-robed old man, Xian Yanjuan called out in surprise. The gray-robed old man's eyes seemed to be filled with stars. He carefully sized up Xian Yanjuan, and his old face revealed an ecstatic expression. Eldest miss, it's you. It's really you. You've succeeded in your reincarnation? The gray-robed old man was so excited that his voice trembled. After many years of reincarnation, I was lucky to succeed, Xian Yanjuan said. Seeing the gray-robed old man, she felt much more relaxed. Thank God, thank God. The gray-robed old man sighed repeatedly. His tiger-like eyes were filled with tears. He looked at Xian Yanjuan dotingly. After a while, he sighed and said, I wonder how second miss is doing? She's also nearby. I'll call her over, Xian Yanjuan said. Then he took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message to Xian Yanqing. Second miss is also here? Did second miss also succeed in her reincarnation? The gray-robed old man became even more excited. She said it was a success, but it can't be said to be a complete success. Xian Yanjuan said. Can't be said to be a complete success? What's going on? The gray-robed old man asked. Her obsession in this life is too strong, so this life devoured her previous life. Her will is dominated by this life. She's no longer completely Tang Qing. Xian Yanjuan sighed. Baidu search 81 Chinese network. No advertising message. Chapter 2676. Hearing Xian Yanjuan's words, the gray-robed elder's expression changed. After a long while he sighed. Reincarnation comes with countless risks. If you can't awaken, you will be trapped in reincarnation forever until you die. Second miss is lucky to be able to awaken. At least she still retains the memories of her previous life. The gray-robed elder sighed. He had lived for a long time and had seen many people reincarnate. However, only 1 in 10,000 could awaken after reincarnation. Most of them were lost forever. There were many like Xian Yanqing. Their obsession in this life was too strong. In the end, the will of this life was the master. In this way, reincarnation could only be half successful. There were very few people like Xian Yinjuan who had completely awakened. Moreover, she has a family now. She has a son and a granddaughter. Then Xian Yinjuan explained the situation of Xian Yinqing and Lu Ming. The two of them chatted while waiting. Soon a figure floated over. It was Xian Yinqing. You are? When Xian Yinqing saw the gray-robed elder, her delicate body trembled and her small face turned slightly pale. Hong Yang greets second miss. The gray-robed elder bowed to Xian Yinqing. Hong, Xian Yinqing whispered. She originally wanted to call him Uncle Hong. However, after pondering for a while, she changed her words. Senior, you don't have to be so polite. Now my name is Xian Yinqing. I'm no longer Tang Qing. You are the reincarnation of second Miss's soul. No matter which life's will is the master in my heart, you are second miss. The gray-robed elder bowed. Senior, why have you come here? Xian Yinqing said. Xian Yinqing, we should leave. This is not a place for us to stay. Xian Yinjuan said. Leave. No, I will not leave. Xian Yinqing shook his head, his expression firm. Don't leave, Xian Yinqing. Our cultivation base increases too slowly in this place. Only by leaving can our cultivation base increase rapidly, Xian Yinjuan said. If my cultivation is slow to improve, then I'll slowly improve it. Xian Yinqing continued to shake his head. Xian Yinqing, are you going to abandon the Tang family? In your previous life, you were the second daughter of the Tang family, Tang Qing. Don't forget that they are in danger now. Xian Yinjuan's voice became heavier. Xian Yinqing frowned. There seemed to be a struggle between his brows, but he didn't say anything. Moreover, there are some things that are difficult to accomplish only if the two of us work together. Moreover, father's whereabouts are unknown. Only by working together can we find him. Only by finding father can we have hope. Do you understand? Xian Yinjuan pressed on and his voice grew louder. The father she was referring to was naturally not Xie Qitian of the Xie family in the Divine Wilderness continent, but her father in her previous life. I am Xian Yinqing. The struggle between Xian Yinqing's brows deepened. In the end, he shouted loudly as if he was trying to strengthen his conviction. I know that you are Xian Yinqing. I also know that you can't bear to leave Lu Ming, Lu Shenhuang, and Lu Qi. However, if you stay, you will only harm them. You should know very well how terrifying and powerful our enemies are. You are Tang Qing's reincarnation. Based on this fact, you will be discovered by them sooner or later. Qintian star field is located in a remote area, so it is still fine. However, with Lu Ming's talent, do you think he will stay in Qintian star field forever? With his talent, he will leave Qintian star field sooner or later. At that time, when he comes into contact with those people, your identity will be discovered sooner or later. You are the daughter of the taboo. They will not let you go, nor will they let Lu Ming and the others go. No matter how talented Lu Ming is, he will not be able to fight back against those people. I believe you know this very well. Otherwise, why don't you dare to tell Lu Ming anything? You are afraid of implicating them. Xian Yinjuan stared into Xian Yinqing's eyes and said. Xian Yinqing's eyes became flustered. Xian Yinqing, I have said what I should say. You decide what to do. Today's parting doesn't mean that you will never meet again. If you find father, you will meet again. Xian Yinjuan said. All right, I will go with you. After struggling for a while, Xian Yinqing finally spoke again. His eyes were resolute. A smile appeared on Xian Yinjuan's face. But I have to say goodbye to Lu Ming. Xian Yinqing said. I will go with you. Xian Yinjuan said. I will send you there. You just need to point out the location for me. The gray-robed elder said. Then he waved his hand. In an instant, he disappeared with Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan. The next moment, they appeared in Lu Ming's courtyard. Lu Ming sensed Xian Yinqing and the others as soon as they appeared. Although he was cultivating, he had left a trace of his spiritual consciousness to observe the surroundings. Little Qing and Xian Yinjuan came to find me. Is there something wrong? Lu Ming's heart stirred. He ended his cultivation and walked out of the room. When Lu Ming walked out of the room, his eyes fell on the gray-robed elder. His pupils could not help but shrink. He never expected there to be a third person. Just now, he only sensed the aura of Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan. He did not sense any aura of the gray-robed elder. It was as if he was a mass of air. Unfathomable. That was Lu Ming's first impression of the gray-robed elder. Lu Ming, let me introduce you. This is Uncle Hong. Xian Yinjuan was the first to speak. Uncle Hong? Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. Xian Yinjuan called him so intimately and called him Uncle Hong. He must be someone she was very familiar with. This was the primitive universe. This elder naturally could not be from the Xia family of the divine wilderness continent in the primordial realm. Needless to say, this person was someone Xian Yinjuan knew in his previous life. Junior Lu Ming greets Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, "You are the husband of the second miss in this life. You are indeed a dragon among men." The gray-robed elder sized up Lu Ming as if he could see through all of Lu Ming's secrets. He continued, "All right, you guys continue chatting. I'll take my leave first." With that, the gray-robed elder's body disappeared. Lu Ming did not see how he disappeared. "Lu Ming," Xian Yinqing walked to Lu Ming's side. He pondered for a moment and said, "I'm leaving, what?" Lu Ming was shocked. His expression changed slightly and said, "Leaving? Little Qing, what do you mean?" "There are some things that I need to do. But don't worry, I'll be back soon," Xian Yinqing said. "Where are you going?" "I'll go with you," Lu Ming said. "Lu Ming, I'm afraid you can't help with this matter," Xian Yinjuan said. "What is it?" Lu Ming asked with a frown. "To tell you the truth, Xian Yinqing and I were both from the Tang family in our previous lives. However, the Tang family is facing a great crisis. My father is missing. Xian Yinqing and I need to work together to find my father. You are too weak to help at all. Moreover, after Xian Yinqing and I left, our cultivation could improve rapidly. It's only a matter of time before we recover the cultivation of our previous lives. In this place we can't use our potential at all," Xian Yinjuan said. Baidu search 81 Chinese Networko. No advertising message. Chapter 2677. Great danger? Then all the more I can't let Xiaoqing go alone. Lu Ming's expression changed. "Lu Ming, don't worry. I'll be safe there," Xian Yinqing said. "That's right, Lu Ming. Let me tell you, Xian Yinqing will be in real danger if she stays by your side. She will be easily sensed by the enemy. At that time, not only will Xian Yinqing be in danger, but you, Lu Shenhuang, Lu Qi, and your family will also be in danger," Xian Yinjuan said. Lu Ming was speechless for a moment. He knew that Xian Yinqing had left for their safety. He wasn't afraid of himself, but he had to consider Lu Shenhuang and the others. Strength, it's still strength. Lu Ming couldn't help but clench his fists together. After coming to the primitive universe, he deeply felt that he was too weak. "Lu Ming, don't worry. Our separation is only temporary. We will meet again sooner or later," Xian Yinqing said while holding Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming was silent and didn't say anything. At this moment, space flashed and the gray-robed elder's figure appeared again. "Lu Ming, this is for you." The gray-robed elder waved his hand and a jade talisman flew to Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out and took it. "The location we're going to is in here. However, I've placed a seal on it. One day, when your cultivation surpasses that of a god king, you'll be able to break the seal. At that time you'll be able to participate in everything," the gray-robed elder said. Surpass the god king realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Lu Ming had never heard of the realm above the Transcendence God King. As far as he knew, the strongest person in the Qingtian star field was the God King realm. He had never heard of anyone surpassing the God King realm. "Lu Ming, take care. We will meet again soon. I believe in you," Xian Yinqing whispered. Then her red lips pressed onto Lu Ming's lips. After a long time their lips parted. "Xiaoqing, don't worry. It won't take me long to break through to the Divine King realm. I'll definitely reach that level. When that time comes, I'll come to find you," Lu Ming whispered in Xian Yinqing's ear. His voice was firm and his gaze was incomparably resolute. He had seen all kinds of storms along the way. In the heaven realm, even someone as strong as the evil god tribe had been annihilated by him. Since Xian Yinqing had a great enemy in his previous life and was destined to fight, then he would trample the enemy and erase him from the face of time. "I believe in you, Lu Ming. Take care." Xian Yinqing also whispered and retreated. The gray-robed old man waved his hand. A wave of energy swept up Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan. In an instant they disappeared without a trace. "Xiaoqing, wait for me." Looking at the empty courtyard, a low voice echoed in the courtyard. After a long time, Lu Ming took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Then he returned to his room to cultivate. He would definitely use the shortest time to break through to the Divine King realm. No matter how strong his opponent was, he would trample them. Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan's departure didn't cause the slightest ripple in the Kongxian school. The Kongxian school had many disciples. Every year there would be some disciples who went missing. Some were killed, some died while completing missions, and some died in dangerous places. To the major powers this was a very normal thing. As for the gray-robed old man, the Kongshan school's Divine King experts didn't sense his arrival at all. This made Lu Ming understand that the gray-robed old man's cultivation was unfathomable. In the blink of an eye, Xian Yanqing had been gone for a month. On this day, a group of people arrived at Huang Wu's courtyard. "Big brother, you're finally out." Huang Wu stood in front of a white-robed young man with a face full of smiles. This white-robed young man had a cold expression. He was Huang Wu's big brother, Huang Wen. "I know everything about you," Huang Wen said. His voice revealed a murderous aura. "Big brother, you must avenge me. That Lu Ming, that bastard, dared to injure me and kill the people of the Floating Light sect. I will tear him into pieces." Huang Wu's face was ferocious. "Dead. He's dead for sure. However, it won't be easy to deal with him if he hides in the sect." Huang Wen frowned slightly. The Kongshan school had a rule that no killing was allowed in the sect. "Then what should we do? Are we going to let him roam free?" Huang Wu said unwillingly. "Roam free? How is that possible?" Huang Wen sneered and said, "Dongfang Han, you go and give that brat a life-and-death duel. Force him out of the sect and we'll go and kill him." "Let Dongfang Han give him a life-and-death duel? How is that possible? That brat isn't stupid. Why would he agree?" Huang Wu said. Killing was not allowed in the Kongshan school, but there was one exception. That was the life-and-death duel. However, there were conditions for the life-and-death duel. 2 outer sect elders had to sign the duel and both sides had to agree. Only then would the life-and-death duel be effective. That way he could step onto the life-and-death arena and fight to the death, and the sect would not pursue the matter. However, Dongfang Hao was an elite on the Empty God list. Almost all the outer sect disciples of the Kongshan school were in the Empty God realm. There were close to 100,000 of them. Therefore, someone made a list which was the Empty God list. It listed 120 of the strongest Empty God realm experts and made a ranking. Everyone who was on the Empty God list was a peak level 9 Empty God realm expert. Their combat strength was extremely strong and they were stronger than those of the same level. In the Kongshan school, there were more than 120 people who had reached level 9 Empty God realm. There were even more than 10,000 of them. Many of them had reached level 9 Empty God realm and were stuck at that level. It was difficult for them to advance further. There were so many people but only 120 of them were listed. One could see how strong they were. Although Dongfang Hao was ranked at the bottom of the Empty God list, his combat strength was much stronger than other level 9 Empty God realm experts. Sending such an elite to give Lu Ming a life-and-death duel, it would be strange if Lu Ming would sign it. I naturally know that he won't dare to sign it. My aim is to pressure him and force him to leave the sect. At that time, killing him will be as easy as killing an ant." Huang Wen sneered. "Big brother is wise." Huang Wu was overjoyed. Then a young man with short red hair beside Huang Wen left the place. This person was Dongfang Hao, the top expert in the outer sect. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating when a voice came from outside the courtyard. "Lu Ming, get out here." The voice was like thunder and it shook the courtyard. Lu Ming's face darkened. He immediately ended his cultivation and came out of the courtyard. At that moment, the other outer sect disciples around him were also alarmed. Someone is looking for trouble with Lu Ming again. "That is Dongfang Hao. That is Dongfang Hao." "What? Dongfang Hao on the Empty God list? He is the top expert in the outer sect of the Floating Light faction. Lu Ming is in trouble." Many people recognized Dongfang Hao and they were shocked. Baidu search 81 Chinese websidio. No advertising message. Chapter 2678. Dongfang Hao Empty God list? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. When he saw Dongfang Hao, he felt a sense of danger as if he was being stared at by a terrifying wild beast. Expert. Lu Ming immediately knew that this was an extremely terrifying expert. "You're Lu Ming? You even dare to kill someone from the Floating Light sect. You've got guts." Dongfang Hao looked at Lu Ming coldly. Cold killing intent shrouded Lu Ming without concealing it. "My guts are indeed not small," Lu Ming replied. "Is that so? Since you've got guts, I'll give you a life-and-death duel now. Do you dare to accept it?" A gilded invitation appeared in Dongfang Hao's hand. With a wave of his hand, the invitation flew towards Lu Ming at lightning speed. Lu Ming stretched out his hand to receive it and felt a powerful force surging towards him. His body swayed slightly to dissipate this force and steadily received the invitation in his hand. Lu Ming glanced at the invitation and saw 5 big words written on it. Life and Death Duel. On it, there were the signatures of 2 outer sect elders. In addition, there was Dongfang Hao's signature and his fingerprint. As long as Lu Ming stamped his fingerprint on it, it would mean that he had accepted the life and death duel. What? Dong Fanghao actually issued a life and death duel to Lu Ming? Did I hear wrongly? You didn't hear wrongly. That's it. It can't be. Dong Fanghao is someone on the empty god list. Lu Ming has just entered the sect not long ago. Dong Fanghao's words caused a commotion among the outer sect disciples. An expert on the empty god list actually issued a life and death duel to a disciple who had just entered the sect. This was rare even in history. You're really shameless. A level 9 empty god actually dares to challenge me, a disciple who has just entered the sect. Lu Ming sneered. Cut the crap. Weren't you very gutsy just now? Now you've become a coward? If you don't have the guts to accept it, then get out of the sect. Dong Fanghao scolded. Many people were disdainful. Dong Fanghao was an expert on the empty god list. Was it not normal that others did not dare to accept the challenge? However, no one dared to speak up. Lu Ming looked at the life and death duel book in his hand, seemingly deep in thought. Did you hear that? If you don't dare to accept the challenge, then get out of the sect. My Kangxian school will not keep such a coward. Dong Fanghao continued to shamelessly berate. Don't make a fuss here. I'll sign this agreement. Suddenly Lu Ming's voice rang out. Then a drop of blood seeped out from his finger. Next he imprinted his own handprint on the life and death battle book mountain. The surroundings suddenly fell silent. Lu Ming actually signed it? Everyone was stunned. They never thought that Lu Ming would actually dare to sign this life and death duel agreement. You? Dong Fanghao himself was also stunned. He never thought that Lu Ming would sign the life and death duel agreement. His original intention was to force Lu Ming to leave the sect, and then Huang Wen would send someone to kill Lu Ming. Kid, the life and death duel agreement has a time limit. You must sign it within 3 years. Otherwise you will be expelled from the sect. Do you understand? Dong Fanghao said coldly. 3 years? There is no need for 3 years. We will meet in the life and death duel 1 year later. Lu Ming said. 1 year. Alright, 1 year later then. Dong Fanghao added a time limit on the agreement. The time was 1 year later. 1 year later, if Lu Ming did not dare to accept the challenge, he would be expelled from the Kangxian school. After writing the date, Dong Fanghao cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. He then soared into the air and left the place. Lu Ming actually signed it. He doesn't want his life anymore. I think he's deliberately stalling for time. Stalling for time? What can he do in 1 year? It will be over in the blink of an eye. He can't catch up with Dong Fanghao in 1 year. Could it be that he wants to take this opportunity to leave the Kangxian school? That's possible. Although he leaves the Kangxian school, at least he can keep his life. It's better than being killed by Dong Fanghao. Many people were discussing and thought that Lu Ming was deliberately stalling for time. In Huang Wu's courtyard. What? That kid actually signed it? Huang Wen, Huang Wu, and the others were surprised when they heard Dong Fanghao's news. They originally thought that Lu Ming would definitely not sign it. Huang Wen's purpose was to force Lu Ming to leave. Once Lu Ming signed it, his plan was disrupted. This kid must be stalling for time and then sneaking away. Huang Wu said. The others nodded. They also thought that Lu Ming had such a plan. With Lu Ming's current cultivation 1 year later, he would definitely not be Dong Fanghao's opponent. That's a good plan. But if he slips away, he can forget about coming back. Huang Wen said coldly. Slipping away was equivalent to being expelled from the sect. Let's wait and see. If he doesn't leave in 1 year, we'll kill him. Huang Wen said. He then left and returned to the inner sect. 1 year's time was too short for a martial god realm cultivator. They didn't think that Lu Ming would be able to stir up any waves in 1 year's time. The news of Lu Ming signing Dong Fanghao's life and death duel quickly spread among the outer sect disciples and set off a storm. Some people thought that Lu Ming was courting death. But more people thought that Lu Ming was stalling for time and wanted to take the opportunity to slip away. Some people even secretly watched Lu Ming to see if Lu Ming was going to slip away. Lu Ming was too lazy to care about all this. He returned to his room and continued to cultivate. A few days later, Lu Ming opened his eyes. I can continue to break through. Lu Ming muttered. After a few months of cultivation, his foundation was very solid and he could continue to break through to the next realm. He still had many wood crystals that he had yet to refine. He took out a wood crystal and swallowed it before he started to cultivate. He cultivated the sovereign divine force. Every time he broke through to the next realm, he would need a shocking amount of resources. However, Lu Ming had not used the wood crystals that he had obtained from the abyss and the wood crystals that he had obtained from killing plants. It was enough for him to break through. One by one, the wood crystals were refined rapidly. Lu Ming's cultivation level was also increasing rapidly. He was rapidly approaching the 3rd level of the Void God realm. Half a month later, when Lu Ming had refined the last wood crystal, his cultivation level had successfully broken through to level 3 Empty God realm. Level 3 Empty God realm is still not enough to deal with Dongfang Hao. Lu Ming muttered. When Lu Ming was at level 2 Empty God realm, he could easily defeat level 7 Empty God realm experts such as the young man in luxurious clothes. At that time, his combat strength was equivalent to a level 8 Empty God realm supreme talent who possessed royal grade divine force. Now that his cultivation level had broken through to level 3 Empty God realm, he could theoretically fight against a level 9 Empty God realm expert if he gave it his all. However, Lu Ming knew that if he really fought against a level 9 Empty God realm expert, he would most likely not be a match for him. This was because a level 9 Empty God realm expert could already use divine skills. There was a huge gap between them and a level 8 Empty God realm expert. Once a divine skill was used, the combat strength would be shocking. Moreover, Dongfang Hao was on the Empty God list. His strength must be even more terrifying. Lu Ming would most likely not be a match for him. Even if he activated the fight formula to double his combat strength, he would still not be a match for Dongfang Hao. Lu Ming still needed to continue to break through to be able to fight against Dongfang Hao. Baidu search Xing 81 Chinese Networko. No advertising message. Chapter 2679. Everyone thought that Lu Ming was trying to buy time so that he could escape. However, Lu Ming had no intention of doing so. The reason why he gave himself a year's time was to force himself to improve faster. He wanted to reach the Divine King realm in the shortest time possible. Continue. He closed his eyes and continued to cultivate, trying to understand the battle character formula. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. In the core area of Kongshen School, a figure was waiting in front of a secret chamber. If Lu Ming were here, he would definitely recognize that this figure was the outer sect elder who had brought them to Kongshen sect during the disciple recruitment assessment, Huo Quan. Kacha. The door to the secret room opened, and an old man with white hair and beard walked out. The old man's eyes seemed to be filled with wisdom as he blinked. Huo Quan greets the sect leader. Huo Quan immediately bowed respectfully. The old man was the sect leader of Kongshen School, Long Zhoushan. Huo Quan, why are you looking for me? Long Zhoushan asked. Because of the new disciple recruitment, sect leader was in seclusion and I did not disturb you. I heard that sect leader is about to come out of seclusion, so I came to report to you. Huo Quan said. The new disciple? You can arrange this matter well. Why do you need to report it to me? Long Zhoushan said flatly with a hint of displeasure on his face. Sect leader, it's different this time. There's a kid inside and I suspect that he has divine grade divine force. Huo Quan immediately bowed and said. What? Long Zhoushan's eyes widened and a terrifying aura burst out from his body. The aura was as vast as the universe. Even with Huo Quan's divine grade cultivation, he was suppressed by the aura and spat out a mouthful of blood. Long Zhoushan immediately retracted his aura, but his eyes were still filled with shock. Divine grade divine force? Is what you said true? Long Haoshan glared at Huo Quan and asked. This subordinate is not very sure. During the disciple recruitment examination, I observed him many times. However, that little fellow has cultivated a special secret technique that can conceal his divine power aura very well. I am only suspecting, but I am not 100% sure. Huo Quan said. Bring him here. I want to examine him personally. Dragon Boat Mountain Road. Yes. Huo Quan bowed and accepted the order, then retreated. Divine grade divine power, divine grade divine power. Long Haoshan muttered. His eyes flashed with a fiery light, mixed with a hint of malevolence. Someone else is coming. Lu Ming was cultivating when he sensed someone outside. He ended his cultivation and walked out. Elder Huo Quan. Seeing Huo Quan, Lu Ming was slightly surprised. Lu Ming hadn't seen Huo Quan since the last time he came to the Kongshen School's outer sanctum. Now that Huo Quan suddenly came to look for him, what did he want? Could it be related to the battle with Dongfang Hao? Lu Ming guessed. Lu Ming greets Elder Hua. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, Lu Ming, come with me. The sect leader wants to see you. Huo Quan smiled and looked at Lu Ming carefully. There was a trace of shock in his eyes. He remembered clearly that during the 13 sects assessment, Lu Ming's cultivation was only a demigod. Now he had reached level 3 empty god realm. It had only been a few years. This cultivation speed was too shocking. Lu Ming himself was stunned. The sect leader wanted to see him? He was just an outer sanctum disciple. Why did the sect leader of Kongshan School suddenly want to see him? Come with me. Huo Quan suppressed the shock in his heart and flew away. Lu Ming could only suppress the doubts in his heart and followed Huo Quan. The Kongshan School's outer sanctum was located on a huge mountain range. Going deep into the mountain range, one would reach the Kongshan School's inner sanctum. Here it was not just one mountain range. There were a few mountain ranges like a few dragons entwined with each other. Here, the divine qi was extremely dense and the cultivation conditions were better than the outer sanctum. Lu Ming followed Huo Quan and flew into the inner sanctum. Soon they arrived at a mountain peak. On the mountain peak there was a grand hall. Lu Ming followed Huo Quan into the hall and saw an old man with white hair. The old man had a smile on his face, but there was a majestic aura that made people not dare to look at him directly. Subordinate greets the sect leader. Huo Quan bowed respectfully. Disciple Lu Ming greets the sect leader. Lu Ming followed suit and bowed. Huo Quan, you can leave. Long Zhoushan waved his hand. Huo Quan left respectfully, leaving only Lu Ming and Long Zhoushan in the hall. Long Zhoushan's eyes flickered with a strange light as he sized up Lu Ming. For some reason, when Long Zhoushan's gaze landed on Lu Ming, goosebumps appeared all over his body. It was as if he was being stared at by a venomous snake. Suddenly, a bright light emitted from Long Zhoushan's body. Streaks of blood-red god force condensed into venomous snakes that pounced on Lu Ming, exuding a terrifying murderous aura. Lu Ming was shocked. He never thought that the Kongshan School's sect leader would kill him. He had never seen the sect leader before and had never offended him. Why would he do this? Even though he knew that his cultivation was far from the sect leader's, Lu Ming would not allow himself to be captured without a fight. He quickly retreated. However, when Lu Ming retreated, the space behind him seemed to solidify, blocking his path of retreat. Swish, swish, swish. Several venomous snakes coiled around Lu Ming. These snakes were formed from Long Zhoushan's god force, and their power was shocking. Terrifying energy rushed into Lu Ming's body, and Lu Ming felt a tearing pain in his body. Break for me! Lu Ming roared. At this moment he couldn't care less about concealing his strength. His sovereign's god force erupted and purple-gold sovereign god force rushed out, bombarding the venomous snakes. At the same time, a pure golden armor appeared on Lu Ming's body. This was the 9 layers pure golden armor. When it was used, it was as if a suit of armor covered Huang Xiaolong's body. Divine-grade god force, it's really divine-grade god force. Moreover, it's sovereign's god force. Looking at the god force circulating around Lu Ming's body, Long Zhoushan's eyes burned with passion. With a wave of his hand, the venomous snakes coiling around Lu Ming disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming felt his body relax and he couldn't help gasping for breath. A layer of cold sweat covered his body. Sect leader, what's the meaning of this? Lu Ming looked at Long Zhoushan with a gloomy expression. Who would be in a good mood if Long Zhoushan tried to kill him the moment they met? Not bad, not bad. You really did control divine-grade god force. Long Zhoushan's face was full of joy, and he nodded repeatedly in excitement. Lu Ming frowned. Long Zhoushan wanted to test if he could control divine-grade god force? Your name is Lu Ming, right? In the future, I will nurture you well, and help you grow as fast as possible. Long Zhoushan said. Then Lu Ming thanked sect leader. Lu Ming said. Chapter 2680. However, I have a condition. Long Zhoushan's tone suddenly changed and he said, I'll nurture you well, but you have to swear on your life essence that you'll definitely listen to me in the future. You'll do whatever I tell you to do, understand? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and his face darkened. Long Zhoushan's meaning was clear, he would nurture Lu Ming in the future, but Lu Ming had to listen to his every word. What was the difference between that and becoming Long Zhoushan's tool? Long Zhoushan wanted to use him as a knife to achieve his goal. How could Lu Ming agree? Sect leader, there's no need to swear on your life source. You are the sect leader. In the future, whenever you need Lu Ming will do his best. Lu Ming said. Are you rejecting me? Long Zhoushan's face turned cold and a dangerous light flickered in his eyes. Swear on my life source, please forgive Lu Ming for not agreeing. Lu Ming said resolutely. Once he swore on his life source, Lu Ming would become Long Zhoushan's puppet in the future. Can't agree? Today you have to agree even if you don't want to. If you can't be used by me, I'd rather destroy you. Long Zhoushan's face darkened and his voice turned cold. A terrifying killing intent enveloped Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming to shiver. Lu Ming had never imagined that the Kongshan school's sect leader would be so despicable. As soon as he knew that Huang Xiaolong had divine-grade god force, he wanted to control him. As the sect leader, you actually dare to threaten your own disciple. If this news were to spread, who knows how many people would be bitterly disappointed. Lu Ming suppressed the anger in his heart. Are you threatening me? Long Zhoushan said coldly. What I said is the truth. Today if you want to kill me, then kill me. You want me to swear on my life? Dream on. Lu Ming confronted Long Zhoushan without the slightest fear. Although he didn't want to die, he would rather die than become a puppet. You have guts and aren't afraid of death. But do you think being unafraid of death is of any use? Do you think that if you don't swear, I won't be able to deal with you? How naive. I'll plant the nether dragon blood curse in your body and make you wish you were dead. Long Zhoushan roared and grabbed at the air. Lu Ming felt a powerful force grabbing at him. He couldn't resist at all and was directly grabbed by Long Zhoushan. Then, the dragon boat's fingers continuously pointed, and terrifying rune arcs drilled into Lu Ming's body like blood-red vipers. Lu Ming let out a beast-like roar because it was too painful. At this moment, Lu Ming's body felt like it was being bitten by countless small snakes. It was extremely uncomfortable and painful. Haha, enjoy my dark dragon blood curse. Long Zhoushan sneered. His fingers moved faster and faster, and even more blood-red runes drilled into Lu Ming's body, forming a terrifying formation. Old fellow, you old bastard, you're shameless and despicable. Lu Ming cursed in pain. Go ahead and curse. I'll let you curse to your heart's content. Long Zhoushan sneered. Old bastard, you're the master of a sect. You're shameless, despicable, devoid of conscience. Do you even have a son? You can't get it up at night, you're impotent during the day. Lu Ming's mouth didn't stop. He was like a machine gun. He hadn't spent so much time with Dandan for nothing. Long Zhoushan's will was firm, but he was still cursed until his eyelids twitched. A moment later, Long Zhoushan finally stopped. The nether dragon blood curse had been placed down. Lu Ming's body released a blinding red light. It was like countless little snakes were coiling around his body, making him suffer endless pain. This kind of pain was even more unbearable than being cut to pieces. In the end, Lu Ming didn't even have the energy to curse. He collapsed on the ground, gasping for breath. Now you know how powerful I am. Long Zhoushan sneered. With a wave of his hand, the snake-like runes on Lu Ming's body disappeared. The pain on Lu Ming's body also disappeared. Lu Ming looked into his body and found that those snake-like runes had disappeared without a trace. He couldn't sense them at all. The nether dragon blood curse is already hidden in the depths of your body. As long as I willed it, you'd be in unbearable pain. You might even die instantly. Right now, your life is completely in my hands. Do you understand? Long Zhoushan icily said. You really are despicable. Speak, what do you want me to do? Lu Ming ground his teeth. He was planning on first calming this old fellow down, then thinking of a way to get rid of the nether dragon blood curse in his body. There's no rush. Right now your cultivation base is still too weak. Once your cultivation base increases, I'll naturally have a use for you. Remember, you better be obedient. Otherwise, I'll make you disappear completely. Long Zhoushan coldly said, then took out a golden token and threw it to Lu Ming. This is a golden token, the highest grade token in the Kongshan school. With this token, other than some forbidden areas, you can go anywhere you want in the Kongshan school. You can also enter and exit the sacred cultivation grounds. Cultivate well. Long Zhoushan waved his hand and Lu Ming was pushed out by a force. Damn it. Lu Ming's face was extremely cold. Long Zhoushan obviously didn't have any good intentions in giving him a golden token. He only hoped that Lu Ming would quickly improve so that he could use him in the future. Lu Ming lowered his head and pondered for a moment. He kept the golden token and walked out. Not long after, he saw Huo Quan. Lu Ming, how was it? What did the sect leader say to you? With your talent, the sect leader will probably spend a lot of effort to nurture you. Huo Quan smiled. His smile was very clean, as if he didn't know anything. This Huo Quan, doesn't he know how despicable Long Zhoushan is? Lu Ming was puzzled, but he nodded casually. It's all right. I'll send you back. Huo Quan said, then brought Lu Ming out of the inner disciple district and back to the outer disciple district. Back at his residence, Lu Ming immediately went into seclusion, circulating the universe myriad Dao art. His sovereign god force seeped into every part of his body, roaming through every inch of his muscles, bones, and even his internal organs. He wanted to find the nether dragon blood curse and destroy it. However, after circulating his sovereign god force, he didn't find anything. Since that old fogey knows that I have sovereign god force, he must know that I can't destroy the nether dragon blood curse with my sovereign god force. Lu Ming's face was gloomy. He really didn't expect the Kongshan school's sect leader to be such a person. So cunning, so despicable and shameless. Right now, I can only feign civility and pacify the other party. In the future, I will find a way to destroy the nether dragon blood curse. I, Lu Ming, will remember today's grudge. A cold light flickered in Lu Ming's eyes. He had been through countless storms along the way. He didn't believe that he couldn't cross this hurdle. Then Lu Ming took out the gold token. Since you want to nurture me, I'll borrow some strength to raise my strength, Lu Ming thought. He then left the outer disciple district and headed toward the inner disciple district. There were many cultivation holy grounds in the inner disciple district. With this gold token, Lu Ming could borrow those cultivation holy grounds to raise his strength. Chapter 2681. Lu Ming returned to the inner sect. However, he was stopped at an entrance. Stop. Two men in black appeared in front of Lu Ming, blocking his way. The auras of these two black-robed men were as thick as mountains. One look and one could tell that they were terrifying experts. Seniors, I want to go in. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, You want to go in? Little guy, leave quickly. Outer sect disciples are not allowed to enter unless there are special circumstances. One of the men in black waved his hand casually, revealing a disdainful look. They could see that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at level 3 ethereal god realm. With such cultivation he was at the bottom of the list even in the outer sect. How dare he enter the inner sect? Lu Ming's face was calm. He knew it would be like this. Last time he came with Huo Quan, so he was not stopped. This time he was alone. It was normal for him to be stopped. Seniors, this is my token. Lu Ming took out the gold token. Token? What token? The two men in black glanced at it casually. Their eyes widened instantly. Gold token. They were tongue-tied and almost bit their own tongues. They had never thought that Lu Ming would have a gold token. In the Kongshan school there were very few people who had a gold token. Other than the holy sons and holy daughters, there were only a few people who had a gold token. However, those people were of noble status. However, Lu Ming was only at level 3 ethereal god realm. They had never seen him before. How could he have a gold token? Could this kid be a disciple secretly taken in by a big shot? The two black-robed men thought in their hearts, and immediately revealed a respectful expression on their faces. Since you have a gold token, you can enter. Please come in. The two men's faces immediately changed. They nodded and bowed, trying to please Lin Fan. Thank you. Lu Ming smiled and was about to enter. Wait. At this moment, a shout came from behind. There was a flash of light and a beautiful young lady appeared beside Lu Ming. The girl's skin was smooth and her facial features were exquisite. She was a rare beauty. She blinked her big eyes and looked at Lu Ming curiously. Who are you? I have never seen you before. Where did you get the gold token? Miss, I don't think I need to tell you where I got the gold token. Lu Ming smiled. Don't tell me? You don't dare to tell me? Tell me, did you steal the gold token? The girl opened her eyes wide as if she wanted to see through Lu Ming's lie. Lu Ming was speechless. He said, Miss, all the people who have the gold token have a high cultivation level and they hide it in their storage rings. Where can I steal it from? The young girl was taken aback and pouted. That's true. Miss, I still have matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first. Done talking, Lu Ming walked towards the entrance. Hey, wait for me. You haven't said where your gold token came from. The girl shouted and followed Lu Ming. The two burly men in black seemed to be very familiar with the girl and ignored her, allowing her to enter. Looks like this girl's identity is not simple. She is clearly only at the Void God Realm cultivation, but the other party did not stop her. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He could roughly sense that the girl's cultivation definitely did not reach the true God Realm and should still be at the Void God Realm. Void God Realm belonged to the outer sect disciples and should not be able to enter the inner sect area. Of course, some special people were excluded, such as the disciples or descendants of some big shot. Hey, you haven't said where you got the gold token from? Tell me about it, tell me about it. The girl followed Lu Ming closely and muttered endlessly. Lu Ming was really speechless. He could tell that the girl had no ill intentions towards him and was just purely curious. Miss, to tell you the truth, the sect leader gave me this gold token. Lu Ming said helplessly. The sect leader gave it to you? The girl blinked her big eyes and asked even more curiously, why would the sect leader give you a gold token? What's your relationship with the sect leader? Are you a disciple that the sect leader took in privately? Or are you an illegitimate child that the sect leader secretly gave birth to? Lu Ming almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What was this little girl thinking about? Her imagination was too wild. Don't make wild guesses. It's not what you think, Lu Ming said. If it's not what I think, then what is it? The girl asked again. Lu Ming felt helpless. He could not be bothered with the young lady and strode forward. However, the young lady was like a shadow, following closely behind Lu Ming. She looked like she would not give up until she figured out what was going on. Lu Ming could not be bothered with her and hurried on. Hey, I'm Yu Linglong. What's your name? Hey, where are you going? Hey, that's where the inner disciples go to the toilet. What are you doing there? Lu Ming stopped in his tracks abruptly, his face turning red. Well, this is my first time in the inner disciples. Lu Ming explained awkwardly. Since it's your first time here, where are you looking for? I can lead the way, the girl said with a smile. I'm looking for a place to cultivate. It's best if it's a place that can quickly increase my cultivation, Lu Ming said. A place to cultivate? Of course, it's the Divine Vein Tower. The divine aura in the Divine Vein Tower is extremely rich and contains a trace of the power of the Divine Vein, which can help people increase their cultivation quickly. The girl said. Divine Vein Tower? How do I get there? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Hey, you haven't told me your name. The girl stared at him. My name is Lu Ming. Lu Ming coughed and explained. Lu Ming? What an old-fashioned name. The girl curled her lips. Lu Ming's face darkened. Let's go. I'll bring you to the Divine Vein Tower. But let me tell you, it costs points to cultivate in the Divine Vein Tower. The girl said. Points? What points? Lu Ming was stunned. You don't even know what points are? The girl rolled her eyes with a look of disdain. Lu Ming's face darkened. He realized that he had been disdained by the girl many times in such a short time. Points, of course it's the sex points. You can get points by completing the sex missions. Points are very useful in the sect. You can enter a place to cultivate. You can even exchange for divine tools, various divine skills, techniques, secret techniques and so on. The girl explained. Lu Ming understood. The so-called points in the Kongshan school were like contribution points in other places. Lu Ming began to have a headache. He didn't have any points at all. It seemed that he couldn't go. You don't have any points. How about this, do you have divine crystals? You can exchange them for points, but it's not worth it. 10,000 divine crystals can only be exchanged for 1 point. Cultivating in the Divine Vein Tower costs 1 point per day. The girl said. Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. That was too expensive. 1 point per day to cultivate in the Divine Vein Tower, which was equivalent to 10,000 divine crystals. It was extremely shocking. Unfortunately, I don't have many points left. Otherwise, I can sell them to you at a cheaper price. The girl muttered. Chapter 2682. I have some artifacts. Where can I sell them? I'll sell them and exchange them for some points. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. In the end, he decided to cultivate in the Divine Vein Tower. No matter how many deity crystals he had, it was useless to keep them. The only way was to convert them into strength. He still had some middle-grade artifacts that he could sell. Let's go. I'll take you there. The girl led the way and Lu Ming followed. Soon they arrived at a bustling place. This was the place where the inner sanctum area specialized in exchanging and selling all kinds of treasures. At present, Lu Ming still had 11 middle-grade divine weapons in his hands. Lu Ming planned to sell 6 and keep 5. The price of a middle-grade artifact naturally couldn't be compared to a low-grade artifact. A good low-grade 9th-grade artifact could be sold for 100,000 deity crystals. As for middle-grade artifacts, even the lowest-grade 1st-grade ones were sold for hundreds of thousands. Among them, 3 were middle-grade level 1 divine weapons, 2 were middle-grade level 2 divine weapons, and 1 was middle-grade level 3 divine weapon. After selling them, he received a total of 3.6 million deity crystals. The girl widened her eyes in shock. She didn't expect Lu Ming to be so rich. Afterward, Lu Ming bought a huge pile of divine weapon fragments. All of them were divine weapon fragments of low-grade 7th-tier divine weapons and above. There were divine weapon fragments ranging from low-grade 7th-tier divine weapons to low-grade 9th-tier divine weapons. Lu Ming spent 200,000 divine crystals on this huge pile. These fragments were enough for Qiu to eat for a while. Then Lu Ming followed Yu Linglong to the points exchange hall. Lu Ming used 1.6 million points to exchange for 160 points. Let's go and cultivate. With a large number of points, Lu Ming waved his hand and walked toward the Divine Vein Tower with Yu Linglong. Is this the Divine Vein Tower? It looks ordinary. Soon they arrived at a huge tower. The tower looked simple and unadorned, but it didn't emit any aura. It seemed to be built with some random boulders. Let's go. Every floor of the Divine Vein Tower has the same effect. It costs 1 point a day. Yu Linglong said and walked towards the Divine Vein Pagoda. There was someone guarding the Divine Vein Tower. Take out your identity medallions and register them. Below the Divine Vein Tower, an old man said. Lu Ming and Yu Linglong took out their identity badges and handed them to the old man. The points were all recorded in their identity tokens. The old man placed their identity badges on a disk array. The disk array flashed a few times before returning the badges to them. Go in. Remember, 1 day of cultivation in the Divine Vein Tower will cost you 1 point. When the points in your identity token are used up, the formation of the Divine Vein Tower will eject you out. However, it will be a bit embarrassing. So, you better walk out of the Divine Vein Tower before your points are used up. The old man warned. The two nodded and walked into the Divine Vein Tower. There were many secret rooms in the Divine Vein Tower. All the secret rooms on the first floor were occupied. The two of them went to the second floor. Hey Lu Ming. If you have any questions in the future, you can ask me. Here. Yu Linglong gave Lu Ming a message jade amulet and walked into a secret room. Lu Ming smiled and walked into a secret room. The door of the secret room closed automatically. Lu Ming sat cross-legged, circulating the universe 10,000 Dao art, and beginning to cultivate. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, the surrounding divine qi gathered towards Lu Ming. What a rich divine qi. Lu Ming was shocked. The divine qi here was extremely dense and shocking. It was almost materialized. It was many times faster than absorbing deity crystals. There was even a special energy in the divine qi. Once it entered Lu Ming's body, it turned into Lu Ming's divine qi and helped him to refine his divine body. So fast. The speed of cultivation here is many times faster than outside. The 10,000 divine crystals are worth it. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Previously, he had been heartbroken about the divine crystals. 10,000 divine crystals could only be used for 1 day of cultivation. However, he felt that it was worth it now. Although it was expensive, he was sure that he would be able to break through quickly. However, before he started to cultivate, Lu Ming took out a pile of sacred weapon fragments and put them aside for Qiu to eat. He then started to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Lu Ming's cultivation level had increased tremendously. He had reached the peak of rank 3 Empty God Realm and was only a step away from rank 4 Empty God Realm. It was not easy to break through to the Empty God Realm. Many people would take hundreds, thousands or even tens of thousands of years to break through if they cultivated step by step. However, he had only used 3 months to break through to rank 4 Empty God Realm. This was all because of the Divine Range Pagoda. Let's start. Lu Ming thought, and the divine qi in his body started to circulate rapidly. Rumble. There seemed to be a loud explosion in his body as he started to break through to rank 4 Empty God Realm. Not long after, his aura increased tremendously and he was much stronger than before. Rank 4 Empty God Realm breakthrough. Lu Ming smiled. After breaking through to rank 4 Empty God Realm, Lu Ming was more confident in his battle with Dongfang Hao. It's worth it to break through to rank 4 Empty God Realm in 3 months. Lu Ming smiled. Although it would not take more than 900,000 divine crystals to break through to rank 4 Empty God Realm by absorbing divine crystals outside, it would take at least 10 times or even a few hundred times longer. In the Divine Range Pagoda, breaking through in 3 months was equivalent to spending a large amount of divine crystals to buy time. Now what Lu Ming lacked the most was time. Everything was worth it. If his cultivation level increased, he could earn more divine crystals. It hasn't even been a year and my cultivation level has increased by 2 levels. I need to stop and refine my cultivation. I need to use the remaining time to cultivate my divine skills. Although Lu Ming had a lot more confidence in the battle with Dongfang Hao, he had to be 100% confident. He could not neglect the 2 miraculous techniques, 9-layered crimson gold armor, and destructive 3 strikes. If these 2 godly skills had a breakthrough, he would have a greater chance of winning. Immediately, Lu Ming walked out of the Divine Range Pagoda. Senior, May I know where I can cultivate my divine skills in the inner district? Outside the Divine Range Pagoda, Lu Ming asked the elder who was guarding the Divine Range Pagoda. There are some places that ordinary disciples are not allowed to enter. The elder glanced at Lu Ming and said lightly, "Senior, this is my token." Lu Ming took out the gold token. Gold token. The elder's eyes widened and he looked at Lu Ming in surprise. Obviously, he did not expect that Lu Ming, an empty God Realm disciple, would have a gold token. With the gold token you can go to most places in the inner district. The best place to cultivate your divine skills is the Divine Skills Valley. I have a map of the inner district here. Take it. The elder took out a map and handed it to Lu Ming. The reason why he was so nice to Lu Ming was that he guessed that Lu Ming was a disciple of a big shot. He wanted to befriend Lu Ming and build a good relationship with Lu Ming. Chapter 2683. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming took the map and scanned it with his spiritual senses. A map appeared in his mind. It was a map of the entire inner sect area. All the addresses, buildings, and cultivation grounds were clearly marked out. This golden badge is quite useful. Lu Ming pondered. Although he had been cursed by the Dragon Boat Mountain with the Nether Dragon Blood Curse, at least there were still some benefits. At the very least, this golden token was still very useful to him. Without the golden badge, he would not have been able to enter the inner disciple area, let alone the places of cultivation. It would be difficult for him to improve his cultivation in a short period of time. Following the map, Lu Ming headed toward the Valley of Divine Skills. The Valley of Divine Skills was the best place to cultivate divine skills in the inner disciple area. Of course it would cost points, but it was slightly cheaper, 1 point for 5 days. Lu Ming still had 70 points in his badge, enough for him to cultivate for 350 days. Lu Ming entered the Valley of Divine Skills and immersed himself in cultivating. Time gradually passed. The 1-year promise between Lu Ming and Dongfang Hao gradually approached. In the blink of an eye, only 3 days were left. During this period, the outer disciple area became lively. Many people were discussing Lu Ming's matter. A year's time was not short for ordinary people, allowing them to forget many things. However, for martial God Realm cultivators, a year's time was no different than a breath's time. They still remembered the life-or-death duel between Lu Ming and Dongfang Hao. Why hasn't Lu Ming shown up yet? I saw him going out before. Did he really run away? That's for sure. I've already said that if he agreed to the life-or-death duel with Dongfang Hao, he would definitely run away. I heard that he came first in the selection, but it turns out that he's such a coward. Knowing that he's going to die, it would be strange if he had the guts. The outer disciple area was filled with discussions about Lu Ming. They all assumed that Lu Ming had run away, not daring to accept the duel. Meanwhile, Lu Ming had just come out from the inner disciple area. Lu Ming had a smile on his face. During this period of cultivation he had gained a lot. He had full confidence in his battle with Dongfang Hao. Soon he returned to the inner sect area. Lu Ming is back. The news immediately caused an uproar in the outer disciple district. The people who had been certain that Lu Ming had slipped away were now dumbfounded and speechless. You dare to come back? You're courting death. What a fool. When Lu Ming came back, he directly slapped these people in the face. These people flew into a rage out of humiliation, thinking that Lu Ming was stupid and came back to court death. In short, the news of Lu Ming's return quickly spread throughout the outer sect. In Huang Wu's courtyard. Good, it's good that he's back. Let's kill him. Huang Wu laughed loudly. Don't worry. This time I'll make him die a horrible death. On the side, Dongfang Hao's face was ferocious, his killing intent cold. Come, place your bets. Bet on Dongfang Hao to win 200 to 1. Bet on Lu Ming to win 1 to 50. Near the life and death arena, a burly man actually started a bet on who would win between Lu Ming and Dongfang Hao. 200 to 1. You're too greedy. This ratio is too low. Yes, 200 to only earn 1. Many people despised him. Bet on Lu Ming to win, each divine crystal earned them 50. However, bet on Dongfang Hao to win, 200 to only earn them 1 divine crystal. If you guys don't bet, then I will. Lu Ming will definitely lose. Although 200 to 1 is a little low, it's a steady profit. I bet 100,000 divine crystals on Dongfang Hao to win. An outer disciple directly bet 100,000 divine crystals. Many people's eyes lit up. Yes, Dongfang Hao would definitely win. Although the profit was less, it was still a steady profit. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. I also bet on Dongfang Hao to win. I bet 50,000 divine crystals. I bet 200,000 divine crystals on Dongfang Hao to win. Me too, there's no suspense in this battle. Dongfang Hao will definitely win. A large group of outer sect disciples were betting on Dongfang Hao's victory. The burly man's face was covered in cold sweat. He also thought that Dongfang Hao would definitely win. Almost everyone bet on Dongfang Hao to win. Wouldn't he suffer a great loss? He deliberately set the odds of Lu Ming to 1 to 50. With such high odds, he thought that some people would take the risk and bet on Lu Ming to win. That way he would be able to make a profit. Why don't you guys bet on Lu Ming to win? If you bet on Lu Ming to win, you'll have to pay 50 to 1. The burly man shouted. Do you think I'm stupid? If I bet on Lu Ming to win, I'll definitely suffer a loss. That's right. I won't give you money for free. Hurry up and give me a receipt. A group of outer disciples shouted. The burly man was covered in cold sweat. It's really lively here. Lu Ming had just returned from the inner disciple area. When he passed by here and saw so many people betting, his interest was immediately piqued. Lu Ming is here. Someone shouted. Suddenly, everyone's eyes looked at Lu Ming. There were pity, sighs, and indifference. Anyway, looking at Lu Ming was like looking at a dead man. In their opinion, Lu Ming would definitely die 3 days later. How do you place this bet? What's the odds? Lu Ming's interest was piqued. He walked over and asked. Bet on Dongfang Hao to win 200 to 1. Bet on Lu Ming to win 1 to 50. Someone replied. Nest, my odds are so high? Then there should be a lot of people who bet on me to win. Lu Ming looked at the burly man. No, no one bet on you to win. The burly man said with a bitter face. What? Lu Ming was depressed. How much did they look down on him? Bet on Dongfang Hao to win 200 to 1, and there were so many people who bet on him. But he bet 1 to 50 and no one actually bet on him? Could it be that they all thought he would lose? Everyone, because there are too many people who bet on Dongfang Hao to win, the odds will be changed to 500 to 1. The burly man said loudly. What? 500 to 1, why don't you go die? Bet 500 and you will only earn 1. Bet 50,000 and you will only earn 100. This is too little. It's not good to cheat like this. Many people loudly reprimanded, but the middle-aged man's attitude was firm. He believed it was 500 to 1. This business is not bad. Lu Ming's eyes turned. His heart moved and he thought of a way to make money. Everyone listen to me. Lu Ming clapped his hands, attracting everyone's attention. He won't be the banker, so I will. Those who want to bet, come to me. Those who bet on Dongfang Hao to win 100 to 1. Those who bet on Lu Ming to win 100 to 1. Lu Ming said loudly. What? Bet on Dongfang Hao to win 100 to 1. I'll bet 100,000 divine crystals. Suddenly there were people who placed their bets. Many people's eyes became fiery. At the burly man's place, the odds for Dongfang Hao to win was 500 to 1. At Lu Ming's place, it was 100 to 1, which was 5 times higher. Naturally, everyone chose Lu Ming's place. Chapter 2684. As for the odds of Lu Ming's victory, they directly ignored it. Previously, when the burly man bet on Lu Ming's victory, the odds were 1 to 50. Now that Lu Ming's odds were 1 to 1, who would still bet on him? Wait, if we bet on you and you're killed by Dongfang Hao, who are we going to get the divine crystals from? That's right, if you're killed by Dongfang Hao, all the treasures on you will become his spoils of war. Who are we going to get them from? Many people shouted. Indeed, if Lu Ming died in battle, they would not be able to get the divine crystals that they had bet, including the interest. How about this? I'll go find the elder of the enforcement hall as a witness and hand over all the divine crystals to him. If I die in battle, you can go to the elder of the enforcement hall to collect the divine crystals. Lu Ming said. Find the elder of the enforcement hall as a witness? Who do you think you are? You think you can invite the elder of the enforcement hall? Don't brag without a draft. Many people despised him. The elder of the enforcement hall was high and mighty. How could a new outer disciple like Lu Ming invite him? Whether I can or not, we'll know in a while. Wait for me here, I'll be back soon. After saying that, Lu Ming soared into the air and headed toward the enforcement hall. Whether it was the outer or inner disciple area, there was an enforcement hall. The enforcement hall was responsible for enforcing the law and had great authority. Lu Ming really went to invite the elder of the enforcement hall. Can he really do it? How is that possible? If he can invite the elder, I can also invite the sect leader. Do you believe it? Whether it's true or not, let's wait. It won't take long anyway. The crowd discussed and waited. Moreover, the news of Lu Ming being the banker also spread. More outer disciples gathered in this area. Even some deacons and elders of the outer court were attracted to the scene. Very soon, a huge palace appeared in front of Lu Ming. This was the outer sect law enforcement hall. Stop. Two young men blocked Lu Ming's path at the entrance of the enforcement hall. I would like to meet the elders of the law enforcement hall. Lu Ming said. You're just a level 4 ethereal god. You want to see the elders of the disciplinary hall? What a joke. Get the hell out of here. A young man waved his hand with a bad attitude. Lu Ming frowned. He was clear that those who held positions in the law enforcement hall were not outer sect disciples, but inner sect disciples. Their cultivation was all above true god realm. Otherwise, how could they suppress so many outer sect disciples? It was normal for these people to look down on him. The two of you just go and inform them. Lu Ming said, neither servile nor overbearing. Report? Who do you think you are? Why should we report? It was still the same young man who sneered coldly. The people from the law enforcement hall had a lot of power. Most of the outer disciples would tremble when they saw them, but Lu Ming was calm when he saw them. This made them a little unhappy. Is this enough? Lu Ming said coldly as he took out the gold token. It's useless no matter what. What? Gold token? The young man was arrogant at first, but when he saw the gold token, he almost bit his tongue and his eyeballs almost popped out. Now, go and inform them. Lu Ming said with a sullen face. Yes. I was blind just now. Young master, I hope you won't stoop down to my level. The young man who scolded Lu Ming just now was sweating profusely. He nodded and bowed in fear. He was clear that those who had the gold token must have a great background. They were not people he could offend. He hated that he could not slap his own mouth. He did not know how Lu Ming would deal with him. Go and inform them. Lu Ming said coldly. Yes, please wait a moment. The young man nodded and bowed, then ran in to inform the elders. Not long after, 3 old men in black robes with gold embroidered on them followed the young man out. These 3 old men were the outer sect elders of the law enforcement hall. Black robes inlaid with gold were their symbol. Little brother, do you really have the gold token? One of the elders looked at Lu Ming. That's right. Lu Ming took out the gold token again. It's really the gold token. The 3 old men looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Little brother, why are you looking for us? One of the elders said with a pleasant expression. As elders of the law enforcement hall, they knew a lot more inside information. They knew that only the sect master and a few supreme elders of the Kongshan school had the gold token. Lu Ming was young and his cultivation was not high, but he had the gold token. Obviously, he had a special relationship with the sect master or a few supreme elders. Naturally, they had to curry favor with him. Seniors, it's like this. Lu Ming told them that he wanted to set up a bet and asked them to be witnesses. Oh, it's a small matter. We'll go with you. Yes, it's a small matter. The elders were full of smiles. The eyelids of the 2 young men guarding the gate twitched. They dared to swear to God that if anyone else dared to ask the 3 elders of the law enforcement hall to be witnesses, they would definitely slap them to death. However, they were not displeased with Lu Ming at all because of the gold token. Thank you for your trouble, seniors. Lu Ming clasped his fists. It's a small matter. The few elders of the law enforcement hall smiled amiably. They then flew toward the outer sect area with Lu Ming. In the outer court area, more and more people gathered around the life and death arena. Huang Wu, Huang Wen, Dongfang Hao and the others also came nearby. He's here, Lu Ming is here. Suddenly someone shouted. Everyone looked in the same direction. Then everyone's eyes widened. There were 3 elders behind Lu Ming. They were dressed in black robes with gold inlays. The outer sect disciples were all too familiar with them. They were the elders of the outer sect law enforcement hall whom the outer sect disciples would turn pale at the mention of. Oh my God, are my eyes playing tricks on me? Are those really the elders of the law enforcement hall? And there are 3 of them together? What the F***ck, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. I saw it too. Oh my God, where did this kid come from? He actually managed to invite the elders of the law enforcement hall. Those who were certain that it was impossible for Lu Ming to invite the elders from the law enforcement hall felt as though their throats were blocked by a ball of dog fur. Their faces were flushed red. This kid, Huang Wen, Huang Wu and the others narrowed their eyes. They could not help but guess that Lu Ming had some kind of background. Then they shook their heads. They had inquired about Lu Ming's background. He was just an outer court disciple who had just joined the sect. His talent was good, but he did not have any background. No matter what method he used, he'll definitely die in a few days. Dongfang Hao said coldly. He had absolute confidence in himself. Chapter 2685. Very soon Lu Ming and the 3 elders of the Law Enforcement Hall arrived. Everyone, I've invited the 3 Enforcement Hall elders here. You can rest assured now. Lu Ming said loudly. Everyone rest assured. We can bear witness to this. One of the Enforcement Hall elders said. After that, he did not say anything else. After all, they were a little embarrassed to witness such a thing. I have a question. Even with the 3 Enforcement Hall elders as witnesses, if we win, do you have enough divine crystals to compensate us? An outer disciple asked loudly. That's right. If you're trying to trick us with nothing, then wouldn't we be betting for nothing? That's right. How many divine crystals do you have? Many people asked. Indeed, they had their doubts. They were afraid that Lu Ming did not have that many divine crystals with him. I know you don't believe me. Then I'll show you. Lu Ming waved his hand. Immediately, a pile of divine crystals appeared in the air, emitting strong divine qi. Here are 1,500,000 divine crystals. According to the odds of 100 to 1, it's enough for you to bet 150 million divine crystals. Lu Ming said loudly. Lu Ming had sold some mid-grade divine artifacts, but he still had 1,600,000 divine crystals left. So many divine crystals. This Lu Ming is actually so rich. Many people's eyes lit up. Also, if you're still worried, here are some mid-grade divine artifacts. You can also pawn them. Lu Ming took out 2 divine artifacts. Lu Ming still had 5 mid-grade divine artifacts left, all of which were at least mid-grade 3rd grade. Now he took out 2 mid-grade 4th grade divine artifacts, each of which could be sold for 150,000 divine crystals. 2 divine artifacts could be sold for 3 million divine crystals. Even the deacon's eyes were burning with desire. Lu Ming actually has so many divine crystals and treasures on him. He's really willing to take them out. He knows he's about to die. He can't bring them with him when he's alive, and he can't bring them with him when he's dead. He wants to give them away before he dies so that Dongfang Hao won't take advantage of him. Of course, that's for sure. Many people thought that Lu Ming knew that he was not Dongfang Hao's opponent and would die in Dongfang Hao's hands. He was unwilling to let his wealth fall into Dongfang Hao's hands, so he used this method to deliberately disgust Dongfang Hao. Damn it! Dongfang Hao was indeed disgusted. He roared in his heart. He never thought that Lu Ming would have so much wealth on him. In his opinion, as long as he killed Lu Ming, all of this wealth would be his. But now, Lu Ming actually wanted to give away all of this wealth. His heart was bleeding. Alright, hurry up and place your bets. If you bet on Dongfang Hao's victory, you'll bet on 100. If you bet on me, you'll bet on 1. Lu Ming shouted. I'll bet 200,000 on Dongfang Hao. I bet 300,000 on Dongfang Hao. I'll bet 200,000 deity crystals as well. Suddenly, a group of outer sect disciples rushed up crazily. They almost went bankrupt to bet on Dongfang Hao's victory. In their opinion, Lu Ming wanted to give away his wealth. It would be a waste if they did not want it. Come one by one. Don't rush. I'll write down a contract for you. Lu Ming took out a brush and ink. His brush danced like dragons and snakes as he wrote down a contract. Then, piles of deity crystals entered Lu Ming's storage ring. In just a short while, Lu Ming had collected 50 million deity crystals. If you bet 100, you'll get 1. If you bet 1,000,000, you can still earn 10,000. This is free money. It'll be a waste if you don't take it. Even some of the outer sect deacons were tempted. Of course, those outer sect elders only smiled as they watched. This amount of deity crystals was nothing in their eyes. Big brother, should we go and bet? Huang Wu looked at Huang Wen. All right. Lu Ji, you go and bet on my behalf. Bet 5 million deity crystals. Huang Wendao waved his hand and a storage ring flew to a young man. He could not do it himself, so he asked another young man to do it for him. As expected of an inner sect prodigy, he bet 5 million deity crystals in one go. Lu Ji took it and went to Lu Ming to bet. Lu Ming received more and more deity crystals. Soon it exceeded 100 million. At this time, a few figures appeared beside Lu Ming. They were the outer sect deacons. Lu Zhong. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Among these deacons, one of them was Lu Zhong. Back in Jianghu forest, he wanted to kill Lu Ming. Deacons, do you want to bet too? Lu Ming asked. What? Am I not welcome? Lu Zhong sneered. Welcome, of course you're welcome. How much do you want to bet? Lu Ming smiled. I bet 20 million deity crystals. Lu Zhong took out a storage ring. 10 million for me too. 15 million for me too. The deacons said one after another. These deacons were from Tianhong's faction. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and accepted them one by one. Interesting. Shall we bet too? Since there are deity crystals to earn, why not? At this moment, a few young men and women flew toward Lu Ming. Each of them had a strong aura and were full of confidence. When many outer sect disciples saw this, their faces changed and they showed a look of awe. They were the top talents on the empty god list. These young men and women were the top talents on the empty god list. They were ranked above Dongfang Hao and were definitely powerful. This time, the battle between Lu Ming and Dongfang Hao had attracted some of the top talents on the empty god list. Bet. Lu Ming glanced at these people. This brat is courting death. I bet 5 million. A young man in a purple robe took out a storage ring and said lightly. He looked at Lu Ming as if he was looking at a dead man. How dare he accept Dongfang Hao's challenge when he just entered the sect? How foolish. I bet 5 million too. Another young man chimed in. These people were all geniuses from the Floating Light faction and belonged to the same faction as Dongfang Hao. Naturally, they were unhappy with Lu Ming. Lu Ming sneered a few times. He did not reject anyone and accepted all of them. In the end, Lu Ming received a total of 200 million deity crystals. If he lost, he would have to pay 2 million deity crystals. 200 million. Ah, I'm rich. I can cultivate in the cultivation sacred grounds in the inner sect area. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Alright, I'll hand over the deity crystals and my own deity crystals to the elders of the enforcement hall for safekeeping. If I die in the battle, you can collect your deity crystals from the elders of the enforcement hall according to the written agreement. Lu Ming handed the storage rings to the 3 elders of the enforcement hall. Immediately after, Lu Ming looked at Dongfang Hao and said, Dongfang Hao, there's no time like the present. Since we're all here today, why don't we have a battle today? Since you're in a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Dongfang Hao said coldly. He then flew into the air and landed on the fighting ring. Lu Ming also stepped onto the fighting ring and stood opposite Dongfang Hao. It's about to start. I wonder how many moves Lu Ming can take from Dongfang Hao? Dongfang Hao is a peak empty god and his combat strength is much stronger than his peers. I'm afraid Lu Ming won't be able to take 3 moves from him. I think so too. Not to mention 3 moves, even 1 move would be difficult. Let's wait for the deity crystals. Chapter 2686. Many people were discussing as they looked at the fighting ring. They were hoping that Lu Ming would be killed in 1 move so that they could collect the divine gems. Boom. On the fighting ring, a terrifying aura exploded from Dongfang Hao's body. His peak level 9 empty god realm divine force exploded and formed a powerful wave of divine force that pressed down on Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's body was as still as a rock. Not bad. I would like to see how strong you are to dare to accept my life and death duel. Dongfang Hao said coldly. He then took a step forward and charged towards Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. Swoosh. His palm was like a knife as it slashed towards Lu Ming. Although it was just a palm, the knife force was extremely sharp. He wanted to cut Lu Ming in half. Boom. Lu Ming struck. His divine force vibrated and shook off Dongfang Hao's wave of divine force. Then he threw a punch at Dongfang Hao. How dare you not use a divine weapon to take my blow? You are courting death. I will cut you in half with this blow. Dongfang Hao roared in his heart as his palm landed heavily on Lu Ming's fist. On the fighting stage there was a deep rumbling sound like a heavenly drum. Immediately after, ripples of energy spread out in all directions. It seemed like a level 12 wind was blowing on the fighting stage. Then the 2 figures retreated a few hundred meters. What? Many people's eyes narrowed. He blocked it. Lu Ming actually blocked Dongfang Hao's attack. How can this be? Lu Ming is only a level 4 empty god realm martial artist. How can he block Dongfang Hao's blow? That's too terrifying. It can't be? Many people were shocked, especially those who had bet on Dongfang Hao. Their hearts were in their mouths. It can't be. Dongfang Hao underestimated his opponent. He did not use much strength just now. Yes, that must be it. Lu Ming is the number 1 disciple after all. He has some combat strength. I think he used all his strength just now and Dongfang Hao did not use much strength. That's why he was able to block Dongfang Hao's blow. Yes. That must be it. Many people seem to have found a way to put themselves at ease. This kid, how did he break through to level 4 empty god realm? Below the fighting ring, Huang Wu was the most shocked. He was the first to exchange blows with Lu Ming, and he was well aware of Lu Ming's previous cultivation rank. When Lu Ming had just entered the sect, he was merely a demigod. However, he was already at level 4 empty god realm now. What kind of improvement speed was this? He was almost scared to death. What happened? Seeing Huang Wu's expression, Huang Wen frowned and asked, "That kid's cultivation isn't right." "That's not right. When he first entered the sect a few years ago, he was only at the demigod realm." Huang Wu's mouth trembled as he spoke. "What?" Huang Wen and the others beside him were all shocked, their eyes wide open. Impossible. He was just a demigod a few years ago. Now he is already at level 4 empty god realm with a solid foundation. This is impossible. This is completely impossible. Immediately, a young man shook his head in disbelief. "Are you sure?" Huang Wen asked with a gloomy face. "Yes, he is indeed a demigod. A few years ago he was indeed a demigod." Huang Wu trembled as he spoke. "Impossible. I don't believe it. Perhaps, when you exchanged blows with him a few years ago, he hid his cultivation rank. In the chaotic universe, there are many secret skills that can hide one's cultivation rank." "That's right. He must have hidden his cultivation rank." The few young men shook their heads and did not believe Huang Wu's words. They thought that Lu Ming had hidden his cultivation rank. What a joke. It was difficult to raise one's cultivation rank from empty god realm to level 4 empty god realm in a few years. They would not believe it even if they were beaten to death. Huang Wen also shook his head. He thought that Lu Ming had hidden his cultivation rank back then. Huang Wu's face turned pale and he was at a loss for words. He was sure that he had not sensed wrongly. Demon. I hope he dies in the hands of Dongfang Hao. Huang Wu shouted in his heart. At that moment, Dongfang Hao was also shocked. Others thought that he had not used his full strength. However, he knew that he had used 100% of his divine force in the previous blow, other than the sacred weapon and sacred skill. He had intended to kill Lu Ming with one blow. However, he had not expected Lu Ming to be so powerful that he could block his blow with 100% of his divine force. "Kid, you have some skills. Let's see how many blows you can take from me," Dongfang Hao said coldly. "Cut the crap. Show me what you have. Otherwise you won't have a chance," Lu Ming said flatly. "Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." Dongfang Hao grabbed with his hand and a golden war saber appeared in his hand. It looked like it was made of gold. Swoosh. The war saber shook and a saber radiance shot up to the sky. It was a lower rank 9 sacred weapon. With a thought, Lu Ming took out a long spear that was a low-grade level 9 divine weapon. Void 9 slashes. Dongfang Hao roared and merged with his saber. The saber radiance shot up to the sky and slashed at Lu Ming. This was a sacred skill. This was Dongfang Hao's second attack. He had used a real killing move and its power was terrifying. Fortunately, there was a light shield on the life and death arena. Otherwise, Dongfang Hao's saber radiance would have rushed outside and shrouded the spectators. Sacred skill? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. This was his first time seeing someone use a sacred skill in a battle. The power of a sacred skill was indeed terrifying. It was not something an incomplete sacred skill could compare to. "Let's see how strong it is," Lu Ming whispered. His spear shook and buzzed. Then he pulled out his spear. For this move, Lu Ming did not use the sacred skill, exterminating 3 strikes. Instead, he used the incomplete sacred skill. Lu Ming had already cultivated that incomplete set of spear techniques to the highest level, the 7th level of mastery. Boom. The spear collided with the saber radiance. Lu Ming's spear instantly erupted with 15 layers of power. The 15 layers of power were like raging waves that surged towards the opponent. However, Dongfang Hao's saber radiance was powerful. It continued to attack and broke through the layers of power. Continuous explosions were heard and the 2 figures retreated. This time, both of them retreated a few hundred meters before they could stabilize themselves. What? He blocked it again. How can this be? This is impossible. Many people found it hard to believe. Many of them rubbed their eyes hard, thinking that they had seen wrongly. However, after rubbing their eyes, the scene was still the same. It made them dumbfounded. Just now, Dongfang Hao had clearly used his divine technique. That power was extremely terrifying. He definitely did not hold back deliberately. However, Lu Ming actually managed to block it. Incomplete sacred skill, the 7th level. That kid has cultivated the incomplete sacred skill to the 7th level. What terrifying comprehension! Many people gasped in shock. To be able to cultivate an incomplete sacred skill to the 7th level when he was only a level 4 empty god realm martial artist, this was absolutely shocking. No wonder the power was so strong. This kid is too monstrous. He must be eliminated. Huang Wen's eyes were cold. Chapter 2687. Is this all you've got? You've disappointed me. On the fighting stage, Lu Ming shook his head and looked at Dong Fanghao with disdain. Lad, don't think that you can be so arrogant after blocking 2 of my attacks. I'll kill you with my next attack. Dong Fanghao roared, and his killing intent was as sharp as a blade. With his rank 9 empty god realm cultivation, he was an expert on the empty god list. Even after using his divine skill, he was still unable to kill Lu Ming, a rank 4 empty god realm existence. In his opinion, it was a great humiliation. Kill? Dong Fanghao roared and raised his blade with both hands. Divine force exploded and rays of blade radiance appeared above Dong Fanghao's head. In the end, 9 rays of blade radiance appeared and each of them exuded a terrifying aura. Dong Fanghao had activated his divine skill to the maximum. Void 9 slashes to destroy gods. Dong Fanghao roared and the 9 rays of blade radiance exuded a terrifying aura. With the power to destroy gods, they slashed towards Lu Ming. Before the blade radiance arrived, the terrifying blade energy had already swept towards Lu Ming and was about to tear Lu Ming apart. Lu Ming squinted his eyes. At this moment, Lu Ming had activated his sovereign divine force to the maximum. At the same time, Lu Ming had activated the battle character manual to double his combat strength. Lu Ming's body was filled with powerful energy and he swept out his spear once again. This time, Lu Ming did not use his divine skill but the incomplete divine skill. Boom, boom, boom. The 9 rays of blade radiance formed by Dong Fanghao slashed towards Lu Ming one after another. Each ray of blade radiance was stronger than the previous one. Every time the blade radiance clashed with Lu Ming's long spear, there would be a terrifying explosion. Everyone's heart was in their throats as they stared at the scene without blinking. They wanted to know if Lu Ming would be killed by Dong Fanghao in one slash. I hope Dong Fanghao can kill that lad. Those who had bet on Dong Fanghao were praying in their hearts that Lu Ming would be killed by Dong Fanghao. Unfortunately, they were destined to be disappointed. After the 9 explosions, Lu Ming stood there motionless. There was nothing wrong with him, not even a wound. On the other hand, Dong Fanghao was gasping for breath. Although a rank 9 empty god could use a divine skill, it would consume a large amount of divine power. Dong Fanghao unleashing his full power just now consumed a lot of divine power. What? He's still alive. Why isn't that Lu Ming dead yet? Many people were shocked and they found it hard to believe that a level 4 empty god realm martial artist could still stand under Dong Fanghao's full force attack. How was this possible? Damn it. Why isn't this kid dead yet? Around the battle platform, many people were roaring in anger, including the Deacon Yu Zhong and the other deacons. Each of them had bet a large amount of divine crystals, especially Lu Zhong. He had bet a total of 20 million divine crystals. How he wished that Lu Ming would be killed. What powerful strength. As expected of the person with the gold token. The eyes of the 3 elders of the disciplinary hall were filled with astonishment. Previously they had guessed that Lu Ming might be a disciple of some big shot in the Kongshen school. At this moment they felt that it was highly possible. Otherwise, how could he be so powerful? They secretly rejoiced. It seemed that they had made the right choice in helping Lu Ming this time. Dong Fanghao, is this all you've got? You've disappointed me. Now it's my turn. Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward and charged towards Dong Fanghao. His long spear was like a mountain, pressing down on Dong Fanghao. Dong Fanghao used his remaining divine power to block the attack. However, after this collision, Dong Fanghao was pushed back. His face was pale and his body was trembling. Just now, he had unleashed his divine skill with all his might and it had consumed too much of his divine power. At this moment he could no longer block Lu Ming's attack. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. His long spear continued to attack and Dong Fanghao was shrouded in spear shadows. Dong Fanghao rushed left and right but it was useless. He was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. Bang! With a moment of carelessness, he was swept by Lu Ming's spear light. More than 10 layers of force exploded and bombarded Dong Fanghao's body. Dong Fanghao screamed as his body flew out and vomited blood. There was a big hole in his chest and his breath was weak. Don't kill me, Dongfang Hao screamed and his face was filled with horror. Kill. Lu Ming said coldly and stepped forward. His murderous intent was incomparably cold. Senior brother Huangwen, save me, save me. Dongfang Hao screamed in a heart-wrenching manner. If this continued he would really die. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. Before the battle he had never dreamt that this would be the outcome. In his mind he could easily kill Lu Ming and he would never be in any danger. If he knew that Lu Ming was so terrifying he would never have issued a life-and-death duel. Lu Ming, that's enough. Huangwen shouted with a gloomy face. That's right. We're all brothers from the same sect. It's enough to determine the winner. Why do you have to kill each other? Lu Zhong also spoke. Haha, ridiculous. You guys don't know that this is a life-and-death duel. Dongfang Hao and I have signed a life-and-death duel. Between the two of us only one can leave the stage. Lu Ming laughed. You should be lenient when possible. Lu Zhong said coldly. Lenient your ass. Lu Ming cursed and directly rushed towards Dongfang Hao. His spear was like lightning as it pierced towards Dongfang Hao. Dongfang Hao let out a hysterical scream and frantically tried to dodge. However, it was useless. The spear directly pierced through Dongfang Hao's head. Dongfang Hao's head burst open like a watermelon. Dongfang Hao had fallen. Dead. Dongfang Hao is dead. Many people's faces were pale as cold sweat flowed down their backs. They had bet a lot of divine skills on Dongfang Hao's victory. Some people even bet their entire fortune. But now Dongfang Hao was dead. My divine crystals. Some people screamed in pain and couldn't wait to beat their chest and stomp their feet. As for those who did not bet in time, they rejoiced. They were secretly angry that they were late and lost a chance to pick up the money. Now they realized how lucky they were. Damn it, damn it. Lu Zhong and a few other deacons' faces were as black as charcoal. How could this be? Huang Wen, Huang Wu, and the others below the fighting stage were pale. Dongfang Hao was dead? They found it hard to believe. A disciple who had just joined the sect for a few years had killed Dongfang Hao, who was on the empty god list. On the fighting stage, Lu Ming's long spear shook, shaking off the blood stains on it. He then reached out his hand and sucked Dongfang Hao's storage ring into his hand. This was his spoils of war. 3 elders. Now that I've killed Dongfang Hao, I've won. Those divine crystals are all mine. Lu Ming looked at the 3 elders of the law enforcement hall. That's right, you've won. These storage rings are for you. An elder of the law enforcement hall suppressed the shock in his heart and threw the storage rings to Lu Ming. Lu Ming caught them with a fiery look in his eyes. Chapter 2688. This time he had made a killing. He had won a total of 200 million pieces of low-grade divine gems. If they were exchanged for sect points, it would be 20,000 points. Cultivating in the Divine Vein Tower for a day was worth 1 point. 20,000 points was enough for Lu Ming to cultivate in the Divine Vein Tower for 50 years. Previously, Lu Ming had only cultivated in the Divine Vein Tower for 3 months and his cultivation level had risen from level 3 Empty God Realm to level 4 Empty God Realm. The effect was shocking. The higher one's cultivation level was, the harder it was to make a breakthrough. Naturally, it would take more time. However, if he had cultivated in the Divine Vein Tower for 50 years, Lu Ming's cultivation level would have increased tremendously. Many people's hearts were bleeding when they saw Lu Ming keeping the storage ring. Those were their divine gems. My 10 million divine gems. An outer deacon's face twitched as his heart bled. Although they were all high-level true god existences, tens of millions of low-grade divine crystals was also a considerable amount of wealth. Humph, it's not that easy to take away my divine gems. Lu Zhong snorted and sent a message to Lu Ming. Lad, come to my mansion and return the 20 million divine gems to me. You have insulted me just now and you must be punished. Take out another 50 million divine gems as compensation and I will let bygones be bygones. His voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. It was a threat, a blatant threat. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly. He looked at Lu Zhong and his voice reverberated throughout the entire place. Deacon Lu Zhong, you're already so old. Don't you understand that you have to accept your loss? Given your status as a deacon, you actually sent me a voice transmission to threaten me to return 20 million divine gems to you. In addition, you also threatened me to compensate you with another 50 million divine gems. Lu Ming did not try to hide his words. Everyone had heard what he had said. Everyone looked at Lu Zhong in unison. Some of them looked at him with disdain. After losing the divine gems, Lu Zhong had secretly threatened Lu Ming. He was despicable. Damned bastard, damned. The people in the entertainment center were roaring furiously. They were so angry that they were about to burn. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so bold as to directly say his threat, causing him to lose face. Kid, you're playing with fire. You're courting death. Lu Zhong transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Look, he's here again. He's threatening me again, saying that he's going to kill me. Lu Ming let out a strange cry. Then he cupped his fists towards the 3 law enforcement elders and said, 3 elders, a deacon is threatening this disciple in public. This disciple is truly in fear and trepidation. Lu Zhong, one of the law enforcement elders, glanced coldly at Lu Zhong. Lu Zhong shuddered and hurriedly cried out, Elder, there's no such thing. This brat is framing me. You better not. The law enforcement elder snorted coldly. Lu Zhong's face darkened and he did not dare to say another word. Lu Ming, you're too greedy. There are so many divine gems. Are you really going to swallow them all? I've bet all my money. Can you return some to me? At that moment a young man shouted. That's right. Return some to me. Then the rest of the people shouted. Even a few supreme talents on the empty god list spoke out. They had bet a lot and had suffered heavy losses. Return? Ridiculous. If you're not greedy, would you have lost to me? Lu Ming sneered. Return? How is that possible? These people had been hoping for his death. Why would he return the divine gems to them now? Lu Ming, you should know when to stop. I'm only asking you to return a portion of the divine gems, not all of it. You've made a fortune. We're all brothers and it'll be easier for you to get along in the future. Otherwise, you've offended so many people. Even if you have so many divine gems, it'll be difficult for you to spend them. A young man in a yellow robe said coldly. He was one of the supreme talents on the empty god list and was from the Tianhong faction. Although he did not make it clear, everyone could tell that he was threatening Sua Mo. What he meant was that Lu Ming would offend too many people if he swallowed all the divine gems. He was afraid that he would not be able to spend them even if he was alive. This time, the 3 elders of the law enforcement hall did not say anything. They also felt that Lu Ming would not benefit from offending so many people at once. Even though Lu Ming had an extraordinary background, the people present were all under the saints' factions. If he offended all of them, he would have a hard time in the future. Ah! Lu Ming sneered. These people were obviously heartbroken because they had lost the bet and wanted a portion of the divine gems back. How could they do that? Alright, if you want a portion of the divine gems back, sure. Lu Ming's voice made many people's eyes light up. As long as you are an outer disciple, I will give you a chance. Come up and fight with me. If you defeat me, I will return all the divine gems. However, if you are defeated by me, you have to leave something behind. Lu Ming continued. What? Most of the outer disciples were immediately dejected. Defeat Lu Ming? What a joke. Even Dongfang Hao, who was on the empty god list, had been killed by Lu Ming. How could they be a match for Lu Ming? Wouldn't they be looking for trouble if they went up? However, some people's eyes lit up. They were the supreme talents on the empty god list. In this battle, victory or defeat is the only thing that matters. I don't care if you live or die. Whoever comes up and fights me, if you win, I'll give you double the amount of divine crystals. If you lose, you have to leave behind a treasure. For example, a king-grade divine art, a divine skill above the 3rd level, a medium-grade divine artifact, or the corresponding divine crystals. Lu Ming said again. Double the divine gems. Remember what you said. The young man in the yellow robe said loudly. Now that there are so many witnesses, I will keep my word. Lu Ming said. Alright, I challenge you now. The young man in the yellow robe moved and rushed into the fighting ring. Huang Qinggan is going to fight. Many people's eyes lit up. Huang Qinggan, who was ranked 98th on the empty god list, was more than 20 ranks higher than Dongfang Hao. His combat strength was also stronger than Dongfang Hao's. What treasure will you use to fight me? Lu Ming asked. A royal grade cultivation skill. Huang Qinggan waved his hand and a yellow scroll appeared in his hand. A royal grade cultivation skill. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. He cultivated the universe myriad Dao art. As long as he cultivated other divine arts, as long as he cultivated a corresponding strand of divine power, he would be able to ignite the corresponding divine flame. In the future, as long as he continued to cultivate the universe myriad Dao art, that kind of divine power would also increase. Lu Ming had wanted to cultivate it for a long time, but he did not have any other divine skills. Originally, he had wanted to go to the depository of scriptures in the inner area to exchange for a divine skill. Alright, where is your receipt? Let me see how many divine gems you have bet. Lu Ming said. Then Huang Qingan took out the receipt. It was a total of 5 million divine gems. For an empty god, 5 million divine gems was a terrifying number. It was no wonder that Huang Qingan was so anxious. Chapter 2689. Alright, as long as you can defeat me, I will return you 10 million. Now, let's hand over the divine crystals to the enforcement elder. Lu Ming took out a storage ring and placed 10 million divine crystals into it before handing it over to one of the enforcement elders. Huang Qingan handed the king-grade divine skill to the law enforcement elder. Then the two of them returned to the fighting stage. Boom. A powerful aura erupted from Huang Qingan's body as his divine force surged, pushing it to the limit. Although you've defeated Dongfang Hao, you're still a little lacking if you want to defeat me. Huang Qingan said indifferently, brimming with confidence. Just now he had seen the battle between Lu Ming and Dongfang Hao. Lu Ming was only slightly stronger than Dongfang Hao, and he might not even be stronger than Dongfang Hao. The reason why Dongfang Hao was killed was because Dongfang Hao had exhausted his divine force. That was why he was killed by Lu Ming. Huang Qingan's battle strength was stronger than Dongfang Hao's by a large margin. He was confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. You're very confident, I hope you have the strength to back it up. Lu Ming said indifferently. You'll see soon enough. Huang Qingan said coldly as a long spear appeared in his hand. Huang Qingan was also proficient in using long spears. Tsukuyami Ghost Spear. With a long whistle, Huang Qingan made his move, thrusting out his spear. In an instant, ghostly shadows appeared on the battle stage and countless howls rang out. Swoosh. All of a sudden, a black spear shadow pierced towards Lu Ming as fast as lightning. Huang Qingan had used his strongest divine skill the moment he made his move. Lu Ming's long spear vibrated as he circulated his divine force, thrusting out his spear. Dang. A sharp collision sound rang out as Lu Ming defeated Huang Qingan's spear shadow. However, at this time, a strange energy invaded Lu Ming's body, appearing in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness in the blink of an eye. It turned into several ghostly shadows, trying to tear apart Lu Ming's soul. Huang Qingan's attack could actually directly attack the soul. It was very strange. However, Lu Ming circulated his Sovereign Lord's God force, causing the ghostly figures to dissipate. Even so, Lu Ming was forced back several steps. On the surface, it looked like Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. Lu Ming is no match for him. He's been pushed back. As expected, he is no match for Huang Qingan. It's already a miracle that he could defeat Dongfang Hao. After all, Dongfang Hao is ranked last on the virtual god list and his ranking is not stable. He can't be compared to Huang Qingan. That's right, Lu Ming is about to lose. Unfortunately, this is not a life and death battle. Without signing a life and death battle agreement, Huang Qingan has no way of killing Lu Ming. Some people immediately started discussing. Those who had lost their divine crystals wished that Lu Ming would be defeated. Although they wouldn't be able to get their divine crystals back, they would still feel a little better in their hearts. Lose? After Huang Qingan had pushed back Lu Ming, he continued to attack Lu Ming relentlessly. Petty tricks. Lu Ming sneered. This time, he had used his Sovereign Lord's God force to guard his sea of consciousness. His opponent's attack could not penetrate his sea of consciousness. Lu Ming continued to attack with his spear, clashing with his opponent. In an instant, the two had exchanged more than 10 blows. The more Huang Qingan fought, the more shocked he became. Huang Qingan, with your strength, it seems like you won't be able to get your divine crystals back. Lu Ming sneered. Lu Ming, don't be too proud. Take my strongest move, Tsukuyami Ghostly Spear, shattering divine ring. Huang Qingan roared furiously. Instantly, his strength skyrocketed once again. That is the second level of the divine skill. It's terrifying. No wonder he's ranked 98th on the virtual god list. He's only a level 9 empty god realm martial artist, but he has already cultivated the Tsukuyami Ghostly Spear to the second level. Many people exclaimed. Generally speaking, a level 9 empty god realm martial artist could comprehend and cultivate the divine skill. However, those who were not talented enough would find it difficult to cultivate it successfully. Only those who were talented could cultivate it successfully. However, they were usually stuck at the first level. Only those who had broken through to the true god realm could cultivate to the second level. For example, the Chaotic Galaxy's Yuan Luo Hall Master, Kang Ji, and the Walkabout Sect Master, Situ Haonen, were both level 4 true gods. They had cultivated for countless years and had only cultivated to the second level of the divine skill. Huang Qingan was only a level 9 empty god realm martial artist, but he had already cultivated to the second level of the divine skill. The long spear in Huang Qingan's hand vibrated and spun continuously. A black vortex appeared at the tip of the spear, emitting a terrifying tearing force. Kill! Huang Qingan roared and rushed towards Lu Ming. The black vortex also rushed towards Lu Ming, wanting to crush Lu Ming into pieces. The power of the second level of the divine skill is indeed amazing. Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly. He knew that he would not be able to fend off the other party's move with the incomplete divine skill alone. Then let's see the power of the 3 strokes of destruction. Lu Ming muttered and the spear suddenly changed. The first move of the 3 strokes of destruction, sky-piercing. A low voice came out from Lu Ming's mouth. Lu Ming's body merged with the long spear and a spear radiance shot out. It was breathtaking and looked as if it was going to break the void. Boom. Lu Ming's spear radiance rushed into the black vortex that Huang Qingan had created. Destroy! Huang Qingan roared. However, in the next moment his face changed drastically. His eyeballs popped out and he looked horrified. Boom. Then, the black vortex that he had created rumbled continuously. In the end, it was pierced by a terrifying spear radiance and exploded. Huang Qingan screamed. His body flew backward like a kite with a broken string and fell heavily on the ground. He slid all the way to the edge of the fighting ring before he stopped. The scene was completely silent, not a single sound could be heard. Everyone looked at the scene in disbelief. Everyone saw that Huang Qingan was vomiting blood. His aura was extremely weak and there was a hole in his chest. Blood was flowing out. Defeated, Huang Qingan was defeated. Lu Ming had defeated Huang Qingan again. Wasn't his combat strength too terrifying? Yu Zhong, Huang Wen and the others were shocked beyond words. Do you still want to fight? Lu Ming landed on the fighting ring and strode toward Huang Qingan. I give up, I give up, I give up. Huang Qingan shouted and rushed down the fighting ring. Lu Ming won this battle. These are your spoils of war. The few elders of the Tribunal Council were also shocked. They handed over 10 million divine gems and the royal grade super skill to Lu Ming. What Lu Ming used just now, was that a super skill? It must be a super skill and it's extremely powerful. He's only a level 4 empty god realm martial artist. How could he cultivate a super skill successfully? Isn't this too abnormal? It's insane. If he grows up, the Kongshan school will have another holy son. Many people were still unable to calm down and were immersed in shock. The 3 strokes of annihilation are indeed powerful. Lu Ming muttered. He realized that the 3 strokes of annihilation were more powerful than Huang Qingan's Tsukuyami ghost spear. Just now, Lu Ming had only used the power of the first stroke to break his opponent's second stroke. Chapter 2690. The power of the 3 devastating strikes was indeed amazing. Just the first level had broken Huang Qingan's second level divine skill. However, this was also supported by the battle incantation. After cultivating the battle word essence, any divine skill or secret skill that he cast would be more powerful than others. In addition, the destructive 3 strikes was already very powerful. Hence, Lu Ming was able to break the other party's second strike with his first strike. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and stood in the fighting ring like an invincible god of war. For a moment he was the center of attention. Is there anyone else who wants to fight? Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he looked around. As he spoke, Lu Ming took out a pile of divine gems and absorbed the energy in them to recover his divine power. Using divine skills consumed a lot of divine power. Although he had only used one move, Lu Ming had used up a lot of his divine power. After all, his cultivation level was still low. Those who were glanced at by Lu Ming changed their expressions and did not dare to look at Lu Ming. Even the supreme talents on the empty god list looked gloomy. Huang Qingan was ranked 98th on the empty god list, which was far superior to Dongfeng Hao. Moreover, he had cultivated divine skills to the second level. With his current combat strength he might be ranked higher, but he had still been defeated by Lu Ming. Some of the people present were ranked higher than Huang Qingan, but not by much. They were not confident that they would be able to defeat Lu Ming. For a moment no one stepped up. Who else? Lu Ming asked again, his eyes shining brighter. I'll take you on. Just then a cold voice sounded. In the distance, a figure came like a whirlwind and landed on the fighting ring. It was a skinny young man with red skin. Obviously he was not a human, but Lu Ming could not tell what race he was from. It's Scorpion Tiger, ranked 51st on the empty god list. Seeing the young man with red skin, many people were shocked. The scorpion tiger is about to attack. I wonder if Lu Ming dares to accept the challenge. The scorpion tiger's strength is far above Huang Qing'an's. I heard that the scorpion tiger once fought with a level 1 true god expert. Although he wasn't his match, he still managed to escape. I heard about it too. Many people started a heated discussion. The difference between the empty god realm and the true god realm was the difference of a large realm. The difference in strength was shocking. It was difficult for an empty god realm expert to fight with a true god realm expert. Not to mention fighting, it was difficult to even escape. This showed how strong the scorpion tiger was. Ranked 51st on the virtual god list? Lu Ming muttered as a powerful battle intent surged from his body. I'll bet a level 4 divine skill with you. If you lose, you have to give me 10 million divine gems. If I lose, the level 4 divine skill is yours. Scorpion Tiger took out a scroll and said, Sure. Lu Ming accepted the challenge. 4-level divine techniques could only be cultivated up to the 4th level. Lu Ming did not think much of it. The 9-level Crimson Gold Armor and Apocalyptic 3 Strikes that he cultivated were both 9-level divine techniques and could be cultivated up to the 9th level. However, the market value of a level 4 divine skill was extremely high. If it was sold on the market, it could be sold for tens of millions of divine gems. Lu Ming naturally would not reject it. The two of them handed the divine gems and skill scrolls to each of the enforcement elders. Lu Ming actually accepted the challenge. He's really bold. Bold? I think he's just greedy. However, the scorpion tiger is far stronger than Huang Qing'an and Dongfang Hao. Lu Ming is definitely no match for him. Look at how confident Lu Ming is. Could it be that he still has a trump card? Let's just wait and see. This time it was different from the previous time. Some people felt that Lu Ming was unfathomable and might have a trump card. They were not certain that Lu Ming would definitely lose. Boom. Boom. On the fighting ring, the two people's auras erupted. The waves of divine power collided first. Whoosh. The scorpion tiger moved. Although he was skinny, his explosive power was astonishing. He rushed towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. A blood-red long sword appeared in his hand and he stabbed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming only saw a blood-red sword light piercing towards him at an incredible speed. Retreat. Lu Ming took a step back and quickly retreated. His long spear swept towards the scorpion tiger. However, the scorpion tiger's sword momentum changed midway and he actually avoided Lu Ming's long spear. You want to use this move to stop me? It's useless. Chonglu's swordsmanship. A cold voice came from the scorpion tiger's mouth. Then, streaks of sword light bloomed from the scorpion tiger's hand. They were densely packed and rushed towards Lu Ming. Each of the streaks of sword light was extremely fast. Level 2 divine skill. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The scorpion tiger's divine skill had also been cultivated to the 2nd level. Moreover, it seemed that his mastery was higher than Huang Qing'an's. 3 strokes of destruction, sky-piercing. Lu Ming whispered. His divine power surged and he stabbed out with his spear. Whoosh. The dazzling spear light lit up again, like a star in the dark night, illuminating the night. The first style of the 3 strokes of destruction was displayed again. Wherever the spear light passed, the scorpion tiger's sword light would constantly shatter and explode. Just as the scorpion tiger was about to end up like Huang Qing'an, his body suddenly trembled and he moved a few hundred meters away, avoiding Lu Ming's attack. Speed divine skill. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The scorpion tiger had not only cultivated its attack-type divine skill to the 2nd level, but it had also mastered a speed-type divine skill. Just now, it had used its speed-type divine skill to move horizontally and evade Lu Ming's attack. Amazing. The scorpion tiger has cultivated a speed divine skill. He is only an empty god, but he is so powerful. He is indeed powerful. No wonder he is ranked 51st on the empty god list. Many people exclaimed. A level 9 empty god realm martial artist could cultivate 1 divine skill to the 1st level. The scorpion tiger had cultivated several divine skills, which was indeed terrifying. Based on this point alone, he was far superior to Huang Qing'an. Lu Ming's ultimate move can't hit the scorpion tiger. He is probably going to lose. He is definitely going to lose. With his divine power, he will not be able to display much of the power of his ultimate move. He is going to lose. He is finally going to lose. Ah! Some people burst out laughing. Your attack is useless against me. Stand there and let me hit you. The scorpion tiger said coldly. Then he moved and rushed toward Lu Ming. His speed was several times faster than before. Whoosh, whoosh. The scorpion tiger's body appeared on Lu Ming's left and on Lu Ming's right. Rays of sword radiance bloomed continuously, slashing toward Lu Ming's vital points. Lu Ming waved his long spear and tried his best to block the attack. Clang, clang. The two of them exchanged more than 10 blows and Lu Ming kept retreating. Let's see how many blows you can take. The scorpion tiger's voice rang out, and his attacks became more intense and violent. All of a sudden Lu Ming revealed a flaw. Now, the scorpion tiger's eyes lit up. He became one with his sword and performed his strongest move. His entire body turned into a ray of red sword radiance, rushing past Lu Ming's flaw and attacking Lu Ming. Lu Ming could not avoid this move. Chapter 2691. Grasping Lu Ming's weakness, the scorpion tiger launched its most powerful attack. Lu Ming had nowhere to run and was about to be hit. You'll lose? The scorpion tiger said ferociously, as if it could already see 10 million divine gems waving at it. Lose? You'll lose? At this moment, Lu Ming's indifferent voice rang out. Then his body emitted a crimson light, and a crimson golden armor appeared on Lu Ming's body. It was the 9-layer crimson golden armor. Lu Ming had purposely exposed his weakness. Lu Ming did not cultivate any speed-type divine skill, so he could not keep up with the scorpion tiger's speed with the incomplete wings rock skill. If he wanted to defeat the scorpion tiger, he would have to lure it closer. Therefore he purposely exposed a weakness. The scorpion tiger was fooled and charged at Lu Ming. Clang. The scorpion tiger's sword hit the crimson golden armor, producing an ear-piercing sound and sparks. The crimson golden armor kept shaking, but it finally blocked the scorpion tiger's attack. I blocked it. Lu Ming was delighted. Lu Ming had only cultivated the 9-layer crimson golden armor to the first level. He was afraid that he would not be able to block the scorpion tiger's attack. However, he had obtained the 9-layer crimson golden armor from Jianghu's portrait. It was as mysterious as the 3 strikes of destruction. With the help of the sovereign's divine power, its defense was amazing and it successfully blocked the scorpion tiger's attack. How can this be? The scorpion tiger was shocked when it failed to break through Lu Ming's defense. It wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Lu Ming would not give it such a chance. Buzz. A long spear swept towards the scorpion tiger at a terrifying speed. Bang! The scorpion tiger was hit squarely. It screamed and flew out like a broken sack. It landed heavily on the fighting ring and slid a few thousand meters away. His body was almost split in two. Blood flowed out. It was severely injured. Lu Ming moved and his long spear stopped in front of the scorpion tiger's forehead. Don't kill me. The scorpion tiger roared and broke out in cold sweat. Only after shouting did he realize that they were not fighting to the death. Lu Ming could not kill him. You lost. Lu Ming said indifferently. With a shake of his spear, a burst of energy gushed out and sent the scorpion tiger flying out of the arena. The scene was in an uproar. The scorpion tiger was defeated. A supreme talent who was ranked 51st on the virtual god list had been defeated by Lu Ming, a disciple who had just entered the school. This was extremely rare in the history of Kongshan School. Most importantly, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at level 4 empty god realm. This kind of battle prowess was too terrifying. A defensive divine skill, level 4 ethereal god realm. Not only did he cultivate an offensive divine skill, but he also cultivated a defensive divine skill. What kind of monstrous comprehension is that? Is he still a new disciple? His combat strength is too strong. Today he has defeated 3 geniuses on the empty god list. From now on, Dongfang Hao will fall from the empty god list and Lu Ming will be ranked 51st on the empty god list. Many people looked at each other in dismay. A level 4 empty god realm martial artist was ranked 51st on the empty god list. This had never happened in Kongshan School. This, Lezhong Huangwen and the rest were shocked speechless. Then cold killing intent gushed out from their hearts. The more powerful Lu Ming was, the greater the threat he posed to them and the more they had to get rid of him. Haha, the younger generation will surpass us in time. An enforcement elder laughed and handed over 10 million divine gems and the divine skill to Lu Ming. Lu Ming had earned another huge sum of money. Many people were green with envy. Who else wants to fight me? After putting away the spoils of war, Lu Ming scanned the surroundings. The arena quieted down and no one spoke. The geniuses on the empty god list shut their mouths. What a joke. Even Scorpion Tiger had been defeated. If they went up, they would also be defeated. Lu Ming asked a few more times but no one came up. This was because no one in the top 50 of the empty god list was present. These people were either out for training, missions, or cultivating in seclusion. Even if some of them knew that Lu Ming and Dong Fang Hao were going to fight to the death, they would not come to watch. Dong Fang Hao, a new disciple, was not enough to arouse their curiosity. Therefore no one dared to fight. Since no one wants to fight, let's call it a day. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the long spear. He then thanked the 3 enforcement elders and turned into a beam of light and left. He left behind a group of people gnashing their teeth. Lu Ming did not return to his residence. Instead, he flew directly to the inner sect area. It was no longer safe to stay in the outer sect area. He would definitely be targeted. Hence, Lu Ming might as well come to the inner sect area. Arriving at the inner area, Lu Ming took out 10 million divine gems and exchanged them for 10,000 points. He then entered the Spirit Vein Tower. In the Spirit Vein Tower, Lu Ming sat cross-legged and absorbed the divine qi in the outer area to recover his divine power. The divine power here was very rich. Soon Lu Ming recovered to his peak state. After recovering to his peak state, Lu Ming moved his hand and a scroll appeared. This scroll was the royal grade divine skill that Lu Ming had obtained from Huang Qingan. Lu Ming opened it and read, Ice Divine Skill. He opened it and saw the name of the divine skill. Lu Ming read it carefully. This was an ordinary royal grade divine skill. There were a total of 7 levels. When one cultivated to the 7th level, they would be able to cultivate the Ice Divine Skill. The Ice Divine Skill was considered ordinary among the royal grade divine skills. However, Lu Ming did not care. As long as it was royal grade divine skill, it was useful to Lu Ming. Lu Ming immediately studied it carefully. A few days later, Lu Ming began to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had stayed in the Spirit Vein Tower for half a month. For half a month, Lu Ming had been comprehending and cultivating the Han Ice Divine Formula. After half a month of cultivation, Lu Ming finally cultivated a trace of Ice Divine Skill. The trace of Ice Divine Skill mixed with the Sovereign's divine power and flowed through his meridians. Success! Lu Ming was overjoyed. He immediately gave up on circulating the Ice Divine Skill, and began circulating the Heaven and Earth 10,000 Dao technique. That wisp of ice divine power instantly merged with the power of the ruler, becoming one. A few days later, in Lu Ming's Dantian, near the divine fire, a light suddenly lit up. As time passed, the light became brighter and more resplendent. Slowly, it turned into a wisp of divine fire. Another divine fire appeared. This was the second divine fire. If others knew that a person had 2 divine fires in his Dantian, they would be scared to death. In the desolate era's cultivation knowledge, a person could only ignite 1 divine fire. It was impossible to ignite a second divine fire. However, Lu Ming had done it. He really ignited a second divine fire. This universe myriad Dao technique is really amazing. Lu Ming exclaimed inwardly. Jianghu had obtained the universe myriad Dao art from a ruin. Even he didn't know where it came from. Chapter 2692. Continue. Lu Ming closed his eyes and focused on cultivating. Right now, the Ice Divine Skill was no longer of much use to Lu Ming. He only needed to continue cultivating the Heaven and Earth 10,000 Dao technique, and that wisp of ice divine fire would gradually grow stronger. Time flew and a year passed in the blink of an eye. In this year, Lu Ming focused on cultivating. The frigid ice divine flame had finally grown to the size of the sovereign divine flame. 2 divine flames burned in his Dantian, looking extremely mysterious. At this time, Lu Ming ended his cultivation. Swoosh! Lu Ming waved his hand and circulated his frigid ice divine force. A long spear condensed from ice appeared in his hand, exuding a bone-chilling aura. Haha, now I don't have to worry about others discovering my sovereign divine force. Lu Ming laughed. Lu Ming could now use the frigid ice divine force alone. Although it wasn't as strong as the sovereign divine force, it was very useful to fool others. Moreover, when Lu Ming used the sovereign divine force, the frigid ice divine force would erupt together with the sovereign divine force. Lu Ming's sovereign divine force was 20% stronger than before. Don't underestimate 20%. 20% stronger was already shocking enough. One had to know that Lu Ming could continue to cultivate other types of sovereign divine forces. When the number of sovereign divine forces increased, their power would be shocking. Lu Ming was very satisfied with this result. Now that I've cultivated 2 types of sovereign divine force, It's not a good time to break through to the next realm. I should consolidate my cultivation before coming to the Divine Vein Tower to cultivate. Lu Ming pondered. 1 point was required to cultivate in the Divine Vein Tower for a day, which was equivalent to 10,000 sovereign divine crystals. Although Lu Ming was rich and had more than 200 million sovereign divine crystals, he didn't want to waste them. In the past year he had spent close to 400 points, which was 4 million sovereign divine crystals. If it was in the past, Lu Ming wouldn't have been able to afford it. The scripture depository in the inner courtyard is said to have a large number of divine skills, divine arts, and even secret techniques. I can use points to exchange for them. Let's go take a look. Thinking of this, Lu Ming's eyes suddenly brightened. He planned to exchange for a few more divine techniques to cultivate. Sharpening a blade would not delay the work of chopping firewood. Even though it would take some time for him to cultivate the divine art, he would not waste that time. As long as Lu Ming could cultivate the divine flame and the power of the divine flame would increase as well. If Lu Ming waited until his cultivation base improved, and then cultivated other divine abilities and magics, it would take him a lot more time to refine his new god flame to the same level as the Sovereign Lord's god flame. His cultivation was still low at the moment, so he didn't have to spend much time on it. Once he succeeded in cultivating it, it would be best for him to raise his cultivation along with it. Lu Ming immediately walked out of the Divine Vein Tower and headed for the Scripture Depository Pavilion. Not long after, Lu Ming arrived at the Scripture Depository. The Hidden Scriptures Pavilion was a huge pavilion with 5 floors. It was extremely spacious. There were naturally people guarding the Scripture Depository Pavilion, and they were all terrifying experts. However, Lu Ming took out his golden token and was able to enter the Scripture Depository Pavilion without a hitch. So many. Lu Ming's eyes widened when he arrived on the first floor. What came into view were shelves after shelves. There were at least a few hundred of them, and every single one of them was filled with god skills. They were either in the form of jade talismans or scrolls. However, they were all protected by formations. They could only be taken out with the approval of the Scripture Depository Pavilion's guardian. There were introductions at the bottom of the shelves. Lu Ming looked through them one by one. They were all divine skills, but they were relatively low level. Most of them were between the 1st and 3rd tiered. Lu Ming didn't see anything above the 4th tiered. Next, Lu Ming went to the 2nd floor. The 2nd floor also had divine skills, but they were of a higher level. Most of them were at the 4th or 5th tiered. Lu Ming looked around. Other than divine skills, he didn't see any divine arts or secret arts. Lu Ming walked around and came to the 3rd floor. The number of divine skills on the 3rd floor was much lower. Most of them were at the 6th or 7th tiered. The value of these divine skills was shocking. Generally, only high-level True God Realm experts or Heavenly God Realm experts could cultivate and display their power. Similarly, there were no secret arts or divine arts on this floor. Lu Ming's goal wasn't divine skills. Shaking his head, Lu Ming went to the 4th floor. The collection on the 4th floor was even smaller. However, most of them were at the 7th or 8th tiered divine skills, and there were only a few dozen of them. Great Sun Divine Art. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He finally saw a divine art. This divine art was called the Great Sun Divine Art. It was also a king-grade divine art. Compared to the Frigid Ice Divine Art, it was more profound. The Great Sun Divine Art cultivated was stronger than the Frigid Ice Divine Art. Finally, there's a divine art. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He looked at the divine art one by one. Subsequently, he saw more than a dozen king-grade divine arts. All of them could cultivate king-grade divine force, and each of them had their own mysteries. However, the points required to exchange for each divine art were shockingly high. The lowest cost was 1,000 points, while the highest cost 5,000 points. 1,000 points was equivalent to 10 million divine crystals. For example, the Great Sun Divine Art required 3,000 points. The price is really high. Even if I use up all my divine crystals, I can only exchange for a few. Lu Ming sighed. After looking for a while, Lu Ming did not rush to make a move. Instead, he looked at the 5th floor. If the 4th floor had a king-grade divine art, then what kind of treasure would there be on the 5th floor? Would there be a saint-grade divine art? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he stepped onto the 5th floor. 9-tiered divine arts and secret arts. There were even fewer divine arts on the 5th floor. There were only slightly more than 10 of them. Moreover, the points required to exchange for each step were shockingly high. 300,000 points. Even the cheapest 9-tiered divine art required 300,000 points, which was equivalent to 3 billion divine crystals. Even a heavenly god would find it difficult to take out so many divine crystals, let alone a true god. Lu Ming gasped. With so many points he could only look at them. Then Lu Ming looked at a few secret arts. Amazing, really amazing. Lu Ming exclaimed as he looked at them. His eyes were burning with passion. Secret arts were different from divine arts. Secret arts had various mysteries. Once successfully cultivated, they would accompany the cultivator for life, and they would improve as the cultivator's cultivation level increased. For example, there were some secret techniques that would allow one's battle prowess to increase exponentially after they were cultivated. This was similar to the battle character formula. However, the battle formula was even more mysterious. Some secret arts would have all kinds of strange effects after cultivation, and their power was even more shocking than divine arts. However, there were too few secret arts, and many of them had very strict cultivation requirements. Therefore, very few people succeeded in cultivating them. The fifth floor contained a few secret techniques, but there were very few introductions, only a few words. However, the price tag made Lu Ming gasp. Among them, the cheapest secret skill required 100,000 points to exchange for, while the most expensive secret skill required 2 million points to exchange for. Chapter 2693. Lu Ming was speechless. He had made a fortune and thought that he had become rich. Now he realized that he was still poor. It's a pity that there aren't any divine skills. Lu Ming looked around but did not see any sacred-grade divine techniques. He shook his head with some pity. The divine skills were the divine skills of the Kongshan school and only a few people were qualified to cultivate them. It was normal that there were no divine skills here. I'd better exchange for a few royal-grade divine skills to cultivate. Lu Ming thought to himself. He had the 9 layers of crimson gold armor and the 3 strokes of destruction. They were enough for the time being and he did not need to exchange for anything else. As for the secret skills, although Lu Ming was eager to exchange for them, they were too expensive and he could not afford them. He had to give up. However, he did not have enough points with him. He needed to exchange for some points and then come back to exchange for the royal-grade divine skills. Lu Ming walked out of the scripture depository and came to the exchange point. He took out 150 million divine gems and exchanged them for 15,000 points. He then came back to the scripture depository. This golden dragon divine formula and this great sun divine formula. Lu Ming was interested in the 2 divine skills. The golden dragon divine skill cost 5,000 points and the divine sun skill cost 3,000 points. Lu Ming decided to exchange for these 2 divine skills. Senior, I would like to exchange for a royal grade divine skill. Lu Ming said to an old man at the entrance of the scripture depository. Exchange for a divine skill? The price of a royal grade divine skill is not cheap. Which one would you like to exchange for? The old man looked curiously inside the scripture depository. Lu Ming's cultivation level was obvious to him. He could tell that Lu Ming was a level 4 empty god realm martial artist. How could a level 4 empty god realm martial artist have so many points to exchange for a royal grade divine skill? Senior, I would like to exchange for the golden dragon divine skill and the divine sun skill. Lu Ming nodded. What? You want to exchange for 2? The old man was truly shocked. Then he said with a straight face, Little guy, you only need to practice 1 king-grade divine art. It's useless to exchange for 2. Junior knows that I didn't exchange for it for my own cultivation. One of them was for someone else. Lu Ming said. Of course, he couldn't say that he had cultivated it himself. Alright, since that's the case, this old man won't say anything more. These 2 techniques are worth a total of 8,000 points. The old man said. Senior, this is my identity token. Lu Ming handed his identity token to the old man. The old man took it and swiped it on an array disk, immediately earning 8,000 points. This little guy actually has so many points. The old man was slightly shocked as well and then he said, Wait for me here. I'll go get the 2 divine techniques. The old man stood up and entered the scripture depository. Soon he came back with 2 scrolls and handed them to Lu Ming. They were the 2 divine techniques. Lu Ming was overjoyed as he kept them. He left the scripture depository and went straight to the Divine Vein Tower. After entering the Divine Vein Pagoda, Lu Ming devoted himself to the cultivation of the 2 divine skills. These 2 divine skills were indeed more mysterious than the Hanbing divine formula. The divine power that could be cultivated would also be a level higher. Of course, it was more difficult to cultivate. Lu Ming spent a few months to cultivate the 2 divine fires. However, the divine fires were dimmer and needed time to grow. Time flew by and Lu Ming stayed in the Divine Vein Tower for 5 years. In 5 years, Lu Ming had finally cultivated the 2 divine fires to the same size as the sovereign divine fires. Moreover, when the 2 divine fires were as big as the sovereign divine fires, Lu Ming had a breakthrough and his cultivation level rose to rank 5 empty god realm. My ability to challenge those who are of a higher rank than me is stronger than before. Lu Ming smiled. Now, when he used the sovereign divine force, the other divine forces would merge with it and the power would be even more shocking. I've cultivated for so long. Let's go out for a walk. Lu Ming smiled and ended his cultivation. He walked out of the Divine Vein Tower. After such a long time, Lu Ming's points had decreased by almost 2,000 points. Adding the points that he had used to exchange for the Royal Grade Divine Skill, Lu Ming was left with about 5,000 points. This is the inner district. I can ask around about Wuxia who the Ancestor of Techniques is looking for. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Back then, the Ancestor of Techniques had given him a dagger and asked him to bring it to Wuxia. In the past, Lu Ming was in the outer district and he could not find her. However, now that Lu Ming could enter and leave the inner district freely, he could look for her. Who should I ask? Lu Ming pondered. Suddenly, his eyes glittered as he thought of Yu Linglong. Lu Ming immediately took out his communication jade talisman and sent a message to Yu Linglong. To his surprise, Lu Ming received a reply not long after. Yu Linglong asked him to wait for her outside the Divine Vein Tower. She would be there soon. Soon, a ray of light flew in his direction and a figure landed in front of Lu Ming. Why did you take so long to contact me? Yu Linglong glanced at Lu Ming. I've been too busy cultivating. I forgot. Lu Ming smiled awkwardly. Why are you looking for me now? Yu Linglong blinked and asked. I want to ask you about someone. I don't know anyone in the inner district, so I'm here to ask you about it. Lu Ming said. I know you're looking for me. Tell me, who do you want to know? It can be said that there's nothing I don't know in the inner sect. You found the right person to ask me about it. Yu Linglong said proudly. I want to know if you know Wuxia? Lu Ming asked. Wuxia? Yu Linglong's eyes suddenly widened. She scrutinized Lu Ming and asked curiously, why are you looking for Wuxia? Could it be that you are her illegitimate son? Towards the end, Yu Linglong's eyes lit up as if she had discovered something new. Lu Ming's forehead was full of black lines. What was this girl thinking about? Please don't make wild guesses. I'm here to look for Wuxia. Yu Linglong said. Are you sure you're not her illegitimate son? Yu Linglong asked again as if she was not convinced. Lu Ming's eyelids twitched. After a while, he gritted his teeth and said, absolutely not. Oh, then why are you here to look for Wuxia? Yu Linglong asked again. I'm here to bring something and a message. Lu Ming said. Is the person who asked you to look for Wuxia's old lover? Yu Linglong blinked. The fire of gossip was burning fiercely. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This girl was right. However, his expression did not change. He said, I don't know. You've asked so many questions. Do you know who Wuxia is? Nonsense, of course I know. Wuxia is my aunt. How can I not know? Yu Linglong pouted. Chapter 2694. Aunt? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. He did not expect that Wuxia, who the Ancestor of Techniques was looking for, was Yu Linglong's aunt. That was too much of a coincidence. Is she really your aunt? Lu Ming asked again. He felt that the problem girl was not very reliable. Nonsense, of course she's my aunt. If you don't believe me, I'll bring you to see her now. Yu Linglong pouted and flew in a certain direction with a proud expression. Lu Ming hurriedly followed. In the inner area of Kongshan School, there were several incomparably huge mountain ranges intertwined with each other. There were countless strange peaks that were boundless. After flying for a while, Yu Linglong flew toward a mountain peak. The peak of the mountain was surrounded by clouds and flowers. It was a beautiful sight. From afar they could see a bamboo forest. In front of the bamboo forest was a lake, and between the bamboo forest and the lake was a building. At that moment, in a pavilion by the lake, a woman was sprinkling some golden grains into the lake. Immediately, golden carps jumped out of the lake and fought for the grains. Aunt? Yu Linglong called out from afar. The woman turned around and revealed her true appearance. What a beautiful woman! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The woman looked to be in her 30s, but she still looked as beautiful as ever. She was a rare beauty. Is that Wuxia? A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. It's you, girl? Why are you here today? The woman smiled and said, Auntie, I missed you, didn't I? I'm here to see you. Yu Linglong smiled and said, Do you think I don't know you, girl? Tell me, why are you here? The woman said. It was obvious that this woman was Yu Xan. And I'm really here to see you. I'm also here to do a small matter. Yu Linglong stuck out her tongue guiltily. Then she looked at Lu Ming and said, It's him. He said that he's looking for you. Looking for me? Yu Xan looked at Lu Ming curiously. Senior, are you Yu Xan? Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, That's right, I'm Yu Xan. Why are you looking for me? Yu Xan said, Senior, it's like this. I've been entrusted by someone to bring something to you. With that, Lu Ming took out the dagger that was given to him by the ancestor of techniques. This is, at the sight of the dagger that Lu Ming took out, Yu Xan's delicate body trembled. Her gaze was extremely complicated and she seemed to be reminiscing. After a long while, Yu Xan let out a long sigh and said, Is the person who gave you the dagger called Fa Ming? Lu Ming nodded. What else did he say? Yu Xin asked again. He said he. Lu Ming repeated the words of the ancestor of techniques. Yu Xan's figure trembled even more. Her eyes were filled with tears. After a while, she let out a sigh and said, He didn't do anything wrong to me. I'm the one who did wrong to him. If you see him next time, tell him the same thing. I'll leave the dagger here. Go. In the end, Yu Xan took the dagger and waved her hand. She then headed to a house in a lonely manner. What's going on? Lu Ming felt that the situation was a little complicated. Lu Ming, what's going on? What's going on? It seems like I'm right. Aunt's old lover is the one who asked you to come. After Yu Xan left, Yu Linglong's eyes were burning with the flames of gossip. She stared at Lu Ming curiously. Let's go. We'll talk after we leave. Lu Ming said and headed outside. Yu Linglong followed closely behind and asked a bunch of questions. I finally know. Back then, grandfather asked Aunt to get married, but she didn't seem to be willing. She even caused quite a stir in the end. Yu Linglong said. Your aunt got married? Lu Ming was startled. Yeah, she caused quite a stir back then, but my grandfather suppressed it in the end. But I only heard about it because I wasn't even born back then. Yu Linglong said. No wonder. Lu Ming finally understood why Yu Xin said she was the one who did wrong to the ancestor of techniques. The ancestor of techniques had always missed Yu Xin, but Yu Xin was already married to someone else. Sigh. Lu Ming let out a sigh. He did not know how to tell the ancestor of techniques about it the next time he saw him. That was the reality. That was how helpless the reality was. Shaking his head, Lu Ming put the matter aside. He had already done what he promised the ancestor of techniques. As for the rest, he could not do anything about it. Alright, I have something to ask you. Do you know how to cultivate the Kongshan School's Holy Grade Divine Technique? Lu Ming asked. You want to cultivate the Holy Grade Divine Technique? That's a bit difficult. First, you have to enter the True God realm and become an inner disciple. Then, you have to show your talent and go through a series of tests to prove that you're loyal to the Kongshan School and not a spy sent by other sections. Only then will they teach you. Yu Linglong said. So difficult? Lu Ming was speechless. Is that difficult? You have to know that the entire Kongshan School only has 2 Holy Grade Divine Techniques. As the treasure of the school, it's too difficult to learn the complete Holy Grade Divine Technique. At most, you can only learn an incomplete one. Yu Linglong said. An incomplete one? Where can I learn an incomplete one? Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. He did not need a complete one to cultivate the other divine techniques. An incomplete one was fine too. He only needed to cultivate a strand of divine power. You can exchange it in the scripture pavilion. You just have to ask the elders guarding the scripture pavilion. However, the price is shockingly high. The Holy Grade Divine Technique is divided into 12 levels. The first level costs 50,000 points and the second level costs 100,000 points. The price keeps increasing. The key is that it's not very useful if you don't have a complete one. Yu Linglong said. I can exchange it. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He did not need a complete one at all. He only needed the first level. Once he cultivated the first level, he would be able to cultivate a strand of divine power and ignite the divine flame. That was enough for Lu Ming. However, he sighed immediately. The first level required 50,000 points. That price was ridiculously high. Even if he exchanged all the divine gems he had left for points, he would only have slightly more than 10,000 points. It was still far from enough. Kongshan School, where can I earn points? Lu Ming asked again. The place to earn points is, of course, the mission hall. The sect will release a series of missions. As long as you complete the missions, you will be able to earn points. However, I suggest that you don't accept any missions. It's not worth it, Yu Linglong said. What? Lu Ming asked. Because there is a limit to the level of missions. You are now an outer disciple, so you can only accept the lowest level missions. Those missions are usually time-consuming and laborious. The rewards are also very low. Most of them only reward 1 or 2 points. The most you can get is 10 points, Yu Linglong said. Lu Ming was instantly speechless. Completing a mission only gave him 1 or 2 points. How long would it take him to earn 50,000 points? Chapter 2695. However, if you want to quickly earn points, there will soon be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yu Linglong suddenly smiled. What opportunity? Lu Ming asked. The Nether Dragon Secret Realm will open in a few days. As long as you enter the Nether Dragon Secret Realm and obtain some treasures, you will be able to exchange them for a large amount of points. Yu Linglong said. Nether Dragon Secret Realm? Lu Ming was curious as this was the first time he had heard of it. That's right. The Nether Dragon Secret Realm only opens once every 100,000 years. Moreover, only those below the True God Realm can enter. Thus, it is a paradise for outer disciples. At that time, all the powerful outer disciples will be able to enter. In the Nether Dragon Secret Realm, there are 2 main treasures. One is the Nether Dragon Beast and the other is the Dragon Bone Flower. As long as you obtain the Beast Core of the Nether Dragon Beast or the Dragon Bone of the Dragon Bone Flower, you will be able to exchange them for a large amount of points. In the past, 1 Beast Core or Dragon Bone of the Dragon Bone Flower could be exchanged for 100 points. Yu Linglong said. 100 points. Lu Ming was shocked. 100 points could be exchanged for 1 million divine gems. This price was extremely shocking. If he could obtain 100 Beast Cores or 100 Dragon Bone of the Dragon Bone Flower, he would be able to obtain 10,000 points. If it was 500, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. If that was the case, he would be able to exchange for the first level of the Saint Grade Divine Technique. Yes, the reward is too shocking. Even many inner disciples are envious, but they can't enter. Let me tell you, there are many outer disciples on the empty God list who could have broken through to the True God Realm long ago. However, they have been suppressing their cultivation in order to wait for the Nether Dragon Secret Realm that opens once every 100,000 years. This is a good opportunity to earn a lot. How about it? It will open in 3 days. Do you want to go together? Yu Linglong said. Of course I'm going. Lu Ming said. He would be a fool if he didn't go. Then let's wait a few days. We'll go in a few days, Yu Linglong said. Then they went to the Divine Vein Tower and cultivated for a few days. 3 days later, Lu Ming and Yu Linglong flew out of the inner area and headed for the outer area. The entrance to the Nether Dragon Secret Realm was in a huge palace in the outer sect area. This hall was normally closed, and would only be opened when the Nether Dragon Secret Realm was about to open. In these few days, Lu Ming had a better understanding of the Nether Dragon Secret Realm. The great desolate universe was vast and boundless. It was the most perfect and stable world in the Great Thousand Realms. Around it, some small kiliacosms would evolve, such as the Heaven Realm and the Primordial Realm. At the same time, some mystic realms would also evolve. These arcane realms were of a higher level than many minor kiliacosms, and were tightly attached to the Urwild's universe. For the creatures in the minor kiliacosm, reaching the demigod realm was the limit. If they wanted to advance further, they would have to enter the primitive universe. However, in some secret realms, deities or even stronger beings could be born. The Nether Dragon Secret Realm was such a secret realm. When Lu Ming and Yu Linglong arrived, they found that there was already a sea of people outside the palace. Countless outer disciples began to gather at the scene. It's Lu Ming. Many people recognized Lu Ming as soon as Lu Ming arrived. Back then, Lu Ming had become famous after defeating 3 geniuses of the Empty God ranking. His name had already spread throughout the outer sect. Humph, this brat also wants to enter the Nether Dragon Secret Realm. Fine, I'll get rid of him inside. Some people harumphed coldly in their hearts as their gazes were like lightning. Furthermore, there were many people with such thoughts. Shwa, shwa. At this moment, several white-haired elders flew over and landed in front of the palace. The inner elders are here. The door is about to open. Many people became excited. Many people's cultivation could have broken through to the True God Realm, but they had suppressed it to the peak Empty God Realm. They were waiting for the Nether Dragon's secret realm to open so that they could gain some benefits. There was a total of 3 inner sect elders who landed in front of the palace door. Then they struck out with their palms and 3 streams of divine power slammed into the palace door. Rumble. The palace's great doors shone, and rumbling noises could be heard as they slowly opened. However, there was still a light barrier above the door. In the Nether Dragon's secret realm, the Nether Dragon Beast and the Dragon Bone Flower are both very powerful. Those with weak cultivation and insufficient battle power will not only not be able to obtain beast cores and dragon bones, but will also die. Therefore, only those who can break through this light barrier can enter the Nether Dragon's secret realm. Now you can go. Remember, you only have 3 months. After 3 months, you must return here or else you will be locked inside. An inner elder announced. Let's go. Instantly, a group of outer disciples charged towards the door. The door was 100 meters tall and dozens of meters wide. It could easily allow 100 people to pass through. Boom. Boom. The group of outer disciples all sent out powerful attacks that landed on the barrier, causing it to violently tremble. However, the majority of them were blocked. Only a few managed to break through the barrier and enter, disappearing in a flash. Damn it, I don't believe it. Break for me. Someone roared and used his strongest power, but he still couldn't break through the barrier. Trash, don't block the way. Behind him, other people charged over and sent out their divine power, wanting to push the person in front away. You're the trash. The person in front was furious and attacked, but after exchanging a single blow with the person behind him, he spat out a mouthful of blood and crashed into the barrier, his face pale. Dong Feng Hao. That person's face was pale, and the person behind him was Dong Feng Hao. Trash scram. Dong Feng Hao disdainfully shouted and sent out a palm, breaking through the barrier and entering the palace. Those who can't break through the barrier, get out of the way. Don't block the way. An inner elder's voice sounded. He waved his hand, sending out waves of energy that sent those who couldn't break through the barrier flying. Shwa, shwa. People continued to dash forward, breaking through the barrier and entering the palace. Those who have the strength of a level 9 empty god realm martial artist can break through the barrier. At this point, Lu Ming had already seen through the trick. As long as one had the strength of a level 9 empty god realm martial artist, they would be able to break through the barrier. Those who didn't have the strength of a level 9 empty god realm martial artist would not be able to break through the barrier. Lu Ming, let's go in quickly. Yu Linglong shouted and flew forward. Lu Ming also flew forward and arrived before the barrier. Yu Linglong sent out a palm, causing the barrier to collapse like water. In a flash, she entered the barrier. Lu Ming also sent out a punch, breaking through the barrier and entering the palace. Inside the palace there was a huge empty palace. In the middle of the palace there was a huge black whirlpool. This was the entrance to the Nether Dragon's secret domain. The two of them charged into the whirlpool in a flash. After a moment of dizziness, Lu Ming discovered that he had appeared on a piece of yellow land with Yu Linglong by his side. Let's go and find the Nether Dragon Beast and Dragon Bone Flower. 3 months will pass in the blink of an eye. Yu Linglong said. The two of them turned into rays of light and flew into the distance. Chapter 2696. The Nether Dragon Mystery Domain was vast and boundless. Lu Ming didn't know how big it was, but he felt that it was at least bigger than the Heaven Domain, Yuan Domain and Evil God Domain combined. The two flew for a few hours but they didn't see anything. What entered their eyes was a vast expanse of yellow land. We're too unlucky. When we entered we were sent to this piece of yellow land. This piece of yellow land is barren and there are no nether dragons or dragon bone flowers. Yu Linglong said bitterly. Lu Ming was also a little depressed, but there was nothing he could do about it. He could only focus on his journey. After flying for another 2 hours, mountains gradually appeared in front of them. Brr, brr, brr. A series of roars could be heard coming from the mountains. It's the Nether Dragons. Yu Linglong's eyes lit up. The two increased their speed and flew towards the mountains. But at this time, other rays of light appeared from other directions and also flew towards the mountains. They were the other outer sect disciples. Lu Ming looked around and saw more than 10 people. Let's increase our speed. Yu Linglong shouted as she circulated her divine power and a layer of rainbow light covered her body. Boom. At this time, several powerful auras came from the sky. The pressure was like a tide that pressed down in all directions, covering Lu Ming and the other outer sect disciples. It was extremely domineering. Then 2 youths, 1 male and 1 female, descended and blocked the group. The nether dragons in this area belong to the 2 of us. You guys can leave. The male said coldly as he glanced at Lu Ming and the others. His eyes were filled with arrogance. Moreover, his tone was filled with a strong threat. It was as if he said that and the others had to follow. It's Lu Yang ranked 35th on the empty god list, and Fang Ye ranked 37th. Someone exclaimed as they recognized the 2. Why are we so unlucky to meet the 2 of them? It looks like we can only leave. The other outer sect disciples had ugly expressions, but they were also filled with helplessness. Those who could enter the Nether Dragon Mystery Domain all had battle power of the 9th level of the Void God realm. However, he only had the combat strength of a level 9 empty god. He was far from being comparable to those geniuses on the empty god list. This was especially true for the top 50 geniuses on the virtual god list. Each of them had astonishing combat power and could survive the attack of a level 1 true god expert. It was said that the top 30 geniuses could even contend with a first-level true god existence. Although Lu Yang and Fang Ye were only ranked 35th and 37th respectively, the 2 of them were lovers. They specialized in joint attacks, and when the 2 of them joined forces, they could fight against the top 30 geniuses. Ordinary 9th level ethereal god realm experts were far weaker than them. Although the other 10 or so outer disciples were unwilling, they slowly backed away. However, Lu Ming and Yu Linglong did not back down. Why aren't you leaving yet? Lu Yang looked at Lu Ming and Yu Linglong with a cold glint in his eyes. Retreat? Why should we retreat? Since we've encountered a nether dragon, the nether dragon core will depend on our own abilities. Lu Ming said indifferently. Brat, you're very confident. Lu Yang's eyes became colder as he said, the nether dragon's secret domain is no longer within the sect. Killing is not prohibited here. Do you understand? This was a blatant threat. His meaning was clear. If Lu Ming did not retreat, then he could stay here forever. You talk too much nonsense. Either scram or attack. Lu Ming stepped forward and scolded. He was too lazy to talk nonsense with Lu Yang. He did not have much time. A piece of nether dragon beast core or a piece of dragon bone flowers dragon bone was worth points and money. If Lu Ming wanted to exchange for a sacred grade technique, he would have to rely on these few months. He did not have the time to argue with the other party. You're courting death. Lu Yang snorted coldly. His finger was like a sword as he pointed at Lu Ming. A sword gleam burst forth from his finger. It was incomparably sharp and emitted a terrifying whistle as it charged towards Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming threw out a punch, his divine force surging as it struck Lu Yang's finger. Crack. Lu Yang's finger was broken and twisted like a fried dough twist. His face turned the color of pig liver as he screamed in agony and staggered backward, spurting out a mouthful of blood. What? The rest of the outer disciples who had already retreated opened their mouths wide in shock upon seeing this. After a single exchange, Lu Yang was no match for Qin Nan. I recognize him. He's Lu Ming. He's Lu Ming. Someone yelled. What? He's Lu Ming? The Lu Ming who defeated Dongfang Hao, Huang Qingan, and the Scorpion Tiger? That's right, it's him. Terrifying. His strength has grown again after a few years. The others exclaimed. You're Lu Ming. Lu Yang's expression was hideous as he stared at Lu Ming. Scram. Lu Ming shouted coldly. Fine, I would like to see what you're capable of. Fang Ye, let's work together. Lu Yang shouted. All right. Fang Ye's figure flickered and arrived beside Lu Yang. Clang, clang. 2 sounds of swords chiming could be heard. Lu Yang and Fang Ye unsheathed their swords. 2 rays of sword gleams soared into the sky. Then the 2 rays of sword gleams intertwined and charged toward Lu Ming. The sword momentum was continuous and its power was shocking. Both of them went all out and their strength was much stronger than the Scorpion Tiger. However, Lu Ming's strength was no longer the same as it was in the past. In the past few years he had cultivated 3 different royal grade divine skills and 3 divine fires. His divine force was much stronger than before. In addition, his cultivation had broken through to the 5th level of the empty god realm. His strength was much stronger than when he fought the Scorpion Tiger and the others. Buzz. Lu Ming took out his spear and swept it out. The spear did not display the destructive 3 strikes. What was used was merely an incomplete divine skill. The spear ray and sword ray collided with each other and an intense battle ensued. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of the collision was like a thunderclap. After more than 10 collisions, Lu Yang and Fang Ye retreated 1,000 meters before they stopped. Both of their faces were ghastly pale and blood was seeping out from the corners of their mouths. There was a hole in their bodies that was penetrated from the front and back. It was obvious that they had been pierced by Lu Ming's long spear. "I'll let you off this time. Get lost," Lu Ming shouted coldly. Lu Yang and Fang Ye's faces were ugly, but there was deep fear in their eyes. They knew that they were no match for Lu Ming. "Let's go." The two of them turned into two rays of light and left. So strong. Lu Ming is so strong. Lu Yang and Fang Ye are no match for him even when they joined forces. It's only been 5 to 6 years and his strength has increased tremendously. His current combat strength is probably in the top 30 of the Empty God realm. No, he might even be in the top 20. The outer disciples who witnessed the battle between Lu Ming and Lu Yang and Fang Ye were shocked. "Do you guys want to stay here and compete with me?" At that moment, Lu Ming's gaze swept across the outer disciples. The outer disciples' faces changed. What a joke. Competing with Lu Ming was the same as seeking death. Immediately, all of them flew away with their tails between their legs. Chapter 2697. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be so strong. Yu Linglong looked at Lu Ming with shock written all over her face. Although she knew that Lu Ming wasn't weak, she didn't expect him to be so strong. "Let's go and hunt the Netherworld dragons." Lu Ming smiled and flew towards the mountain peaks. Brr, brr. When Lu Ming and Yu Linglong neared the mountain peaks, a few Netherworld dragons appeared on the mountain peaks. The Netherworld dragons looked like tigers. They were 5 meters tall and 10 meters long. Their bodies were covered in black scales and there were 2 dragon horns on their heads. Their auras were wild. Brr, brr. The few Netherworld dragons roared and kicked off with their hind legs. They turned into a few streaks of black light and charged towards Lu Ming and Yu Linglong. So fast. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He shook his spear and stabbed out a few times. A few spear radiances pierced through the heads of the 3 Netherworld dragons. Ding, ding. When the spear pierced the heads of the Netherworld dragons, there was the sound of metal clashing and sparks flew. The 3 Netherworld dragons were forced back by Lu Ming's attacks. However, Lu Ming also felt a huge force surging through the spear, causing his arm to feel numb. What shocking strength! Lu Ming was slightly shocked. He could feel that the few Netherworld dragons were at level 9 Empty God realm, but their strength was shocking. With Lu Ming's current strength, there weren't many Empty Gods who could cause his arm to feel numb. What shocked Lu Ming even more was that after the 3 Netherworld dragons were forced back, they shook their heads and were completely fine. Shocking defensive strength. If it were any other level 9 Empty God realm wild beast, they would definitely die on the spot after being pierced by Lu Ming's spear. Brr, brr, brr. The 3 Netherworld dragons roared. Following which, a few more Netherworld dragons appeared between the mountain peaks. They were filled with killing intent as they charged towards them. Kill? Lu Ming also charged forward, circulating his sovereign's god force with all his might. The 4 divine fires in his body burned fiercely, and 3 types of king-grade god force merged with his sovereign's god force, bursting forth with shocking might. The nether dragon roared. Its razor-sharp claws clawed at Lu Ming. The wind howled, terrifying to the extreme. Bang, bang, bang. The 2 sides continued to clash, but Lu Ming was still stronger. His spear struck the 3 nether dragons and 15 layers of power exploded, sending the 3 nether dragons flying. However, after the nether dragon was sent flying, it shook its head and body as if nothing had happened. This strength. Lu Ming was extremely shocked. The nether dragon's strength completely exceeded his expectations. No wonder the inner sect elders said that the nether dragon core dragon bone flower was very powerful. Only those who could break through the light screen could enter. Lu Ming was sure that even a rank 9 Empty God realm expert wouldn't be a match for a nether dragon. If they wanted to kill a nether dragon, they would need at least a few people to work together. On the other side, Yu Linglong was also fighting with a few nether dragons. A soft whip appeared in Yu Linglong's hand. As she waved the whip, the sky was filled with whip shadows, trapping the nether dragons in the middle. What strength! Yu Linglong's strength had also exceeded Lu Ming's expectations. Yu Linglong's cultivation was at the rank 9 Empty God realm, but Lu Ming felt that Yu Linglong wasn't weak compared to many of the top geniuses of the Empty God realm. However, Yu Linglong's identity wasn't ordinary. She wasn't an outer sect disciple but an inner sect disciple. There were many examples like this in the Kongshan school. Many descendants of great figures were directly nurtured in the inner sect and wouldn't join the ranks of outer sect disciples. Naturally, they wouldn't enter the empty god realm, but their strength was very shocking. Brr, brr. The nether dragon was continuously sent flying by Lu Ming. It let out a furious roar and a baleful aura filled the sky. Its body was covered in a layer of black flames as it glared at Lu Ming and charged at Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two sides once again engaged in an intense battle. However, the nether dragon's defense was too shocking. It was continuously hit by Lu Ming, but it was as if nothing had happened. Lu Ming couldn't break through its defense at all. Lu Ming's strength could completely suppress a few nether dragons, but he couldn't break through their defense and kill them. No, there must be a weakness. As long as I can find the weakness of the nether dragon, I can kill it. Lu Ming's mind was racing. If there weren't any weaknesses, then how did the people who entered 100,000 and 200,000 years ago kill it? If even Lu Ming couldn't kill it, then there weren't many people below the true god realm who could. After thinking about this, Lu Ming began to probe. The long spear constantly stabbed at different parts of the nether dragon. Finally, after hundreds of probing, Lu Ming finally found the weakness of the nether dragon. Lu Ming's spear pierced the nether dragon's neck. The nether dragon roared as blood flowed out. It then fell to the ground and twitched a few times before losing its vitality. The neck was the nether dragon's weakness. Yu Linglong, attack its neck. Lu Ming shouted. Whoosh, whoosh. Yu Linglong's attack changed. The soft whip hardened and stabbed out like a long spear. The soft whip pierced a nether dragon's neck and killed it. It's the neck. Yu Linglong was excited and began to attack crazily. At the same time, Lu Ming also attacked. Although the nether dragons tried to dodge, they couldn't and were killed by Lu Ming. On the other side, Yu Linglong also killed the last two nether dragons. Then the two dug out a few beast cores from the nether dragon's chests. There were a total of 6 beast cores, 3 for each person. These beast cores could be used to refine divine pills and were very useful. They were even helpful to true gods and heavenly gods. Otherwise they wouldn't be so expensive. Lu Ming was delighted. One beast core was worth 100 points, which was equivalent to 1 million divine gems. Let's continue. Lu Ming's eyes were burning as he flew forward with Yu Linglong. Brr, brr. They hadn't flown far when roars came from the front. There were at least a dozen nether dragons leaping from the mountain and running towards them. We didn't go looking for you, but you came to us yourself. Just in time. Lu Ming laughed and charged at the dozen nether dragons. The nether dragon was very powerful and had shocking strength. However, since Lu Ming knew its weakness, given his combat ability, it was not too difficult to deal with it. Lu Ming and Yu Linglong worked together and killed the dozen nether dragons. Each of them obtained 7 beast cores. Adding the 3 from before, they had 10 now. If exchanged for points, it would be 1,000 points. 1,000 points could be exchanged for a slightly inferior king-grade divine art. This speed of earning points made Lu Ming very happy. Of course, this was also because they were strong enough to kill the nether dragons. If it were others, they wouldn't be so fast. Even if an outer sect disciple at the 9th level of the ethereal god realm knew the weakness of the nether dragon, they would still need many people to work together to kill it. If they encountered a dozen nether dragons at once, they wouldn't be able to deal with them and could only run away. Chapter 2698. In just a short while he had obtained the beast core of 1,000 points. Lu Ming was excited and wanted to continue forward with Yu Linglong to kill more netherworld dragons. Boom. Suddenly, a powerful pressure came down from the sky. It was filled with a domineering aura. Then a few young men slowly descended from the sky. Dong Feng Hao. Lu Ming squinted his eyes. There were 3 youths and one of them was Huang Qinggan, who was ranked 98th on the empty god list back then. Of course, Lu Ming had defeated 3 people in a row and defeated the 51st ranked Scorpion Tiger. Huang Qinggan's ranking had dropped to 99th. Lu Ming was not concerned about Huang Qinggan but the other 2 youths, especially a youth in black armor. This youth in black armor was tall and muscular. Black armor covered his entire body and even his palms were covered by the armor. Only his head was exposed and he was filled with a domineering aura. Kuang Dao, it's little tyrant Kuang Dao. Yu Linglong exclaimed when she saw the youth in black armor. It's him. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. In this period of time, he had some understanding of some of the top people on the empty god list. Little tyrant Kuang Dao was ranked 5th on the empty god list. He was a terrifying figure and very powerful. In the entire outer sect, there were only a handful of outer sect disciples who could suppress him. Those in the top 10 of the empty god list all had shocking battle records and had defeated true gods before. This was terrifying. Like the scorpion tiger, it had only escaped from the hands of a true god realm expert before. It was completely different from being defeated. The difference was like heaven and earth. It was said that the top 3 on the empty god list had the strength to kill a true god realm expert. Little Tyrant Quang Dao was undoubtedly more terrifying. Although Little Tyrant Quang Dao did not have the strength to kill a true god realm expert, he had defeated many true god realm experts and his combat strength was unquestionable. You are Lu Ming, the one who killed many of my floating light sex junior brothers? Quang Dao's eyes were like a ferocious beast as he stared at Lu Ming with cold murderous intent. If people don't provoke me, I won't provoke them. If people provoke me, no matter who they are, I'll kill them all. Lu Ming replied coldly. Is that so? Kill them all? Let's see if you have the ability. Crazy Dao's face turned even colder. The aura on his body suddenly burst out. The violent pressure was like a mountain, pressing down on Lu Ming. Whoosh, whoosh. Huang Qingan and the other young man moved in a flash and formed a triangle, surrounding Lu Ming and Yu Linglong in the middle to prevent them from escaping. Lu Ming, I wasn't there when you fought so many people in the life and death arena. Otherwise, I wouldn't have allowed you to be so arrogant. His name was Lan Shang and he was also an expert on the empty god list. He was ranked 33rd on the empty god list. You talk too much. Don't you know that villains usually die from talking too much? Lu Ming coldly glanced at Lan Shang. You're courting death. Senior brother Quang Dao, leave this brat to me. Lan Shang's eyes were cold as a war blade appeared in his hand. Unfortunately, they did not know that Lu Ming had already defeated Lu Yang and Fang Ye. Although Lu Yang and Fang Ye were ranked lower than Lan Shang on the empty god list, their combined strength was definitely above Lan Shang's. If he knew about it, he would not be so confident. Sky Blade 10 slashes. Lan Shang shouted coldly. Blade Chi soared into the sky. A blue blade radiance was crystal clear and filled with terrifying power as it slashed towards Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming's long spear shook as he lashed it out. Rumble. The long spear lashed out and there was a violent explosion. Then the long spear struck Lan Shang's blade radiance. Break it. Lan Shang began to roar, wanting to break Lu Ming's spear radiance. However, in the next moment, his eyes widened and he let out a miserable shriek. Not only did he fail to break Lu Ming's spear radiance, but his own blade radiance also shattered. The long spear was like a hot knife through butter as it struck Lan Shang's body. Lan Shang screamed as his body flew out like a cannonball. He brought along a long stream of air as he crashed into a mountain. The mountain crumbled and Lan Shang's body was lying on a pile of rocks. His body was twitching non-stop and he was already half dead. What? Huang Qing'an's eyes widened as he was almost scared to death. His body instinctively retreated. Even the eyes of the little tyrant, Quang Dao, narrowed. Obviously, Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded his expectations. Although Lan Shang's combat strength was far from his, he was already a top expert in the empty god realm. However, he was now half dead after being struck by Lu Ming's spear. So you do have some strength. No wonder you're so arrogant. However, this strength is not enough in my hands. Quang Dao opened his mouth and his divine force exploded. His tall figure looked even more mighty. Boom. Quang Dao stepped out. His body was like a mountain as he pressed down on Lu Ming. Let me see how strong you are. Overbearing divine fist. Quang Dao roared. The black armor on his body emitted a bright black light as he threw a punch at Lu Ming. His fist was wrapped in black armor. When he threw a punch, it was like a mountain pressing down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming was not afraid as he circulated his divine force. In his elixir field, for divine fires burned. Divine force gushed out and entered the long spear as he threw out a spear. Boom. Like two meteorites exploding, the sky shook violently and formed a terrifying shockwave that rushed out in all directions. Swoosh. A figure retreated a few dozen miles and stood in the air. His aura fluctuated. This figure was Quang Dao. How can this be? Huang Qing'an was shocked to the core. Lu Ming's combat strength was shocking. Even Quang Dao, who was ranked 5th on the empty god list, was pushed back by Lu Ming. Kid, not bad. Your strength is not bad. Take another blow from me. Overbearing divine fist, fist of the world. Quang Dao roared as the aura on his body became more terrifying. He threw out a punch and the fist force was like a meteorite as it flew towards Lu Ming. The terrifying fist force continued to press toward Lu Ming even though it was still a distance away. Peak of level 2 divine skill. Lu Ming saw the level of Kuang Dao's divine skill at a glance. Kuang Dao's divine power was definitely at the top of the king grade divine power, very close to the saint grade divine power. His divine skill had been cultivated to the peak of the second level. In addition to his black armor, the combination of his divine power was shockingly strong. Even someone like Lan Shang would be killed with a single punch from this punch. First move of the 3 annihilating strikes, sky-piercing. Lu Ming used the first move of the 3 annihilating strikes. Although the 3 annihilating strikes was only at the peak of level 1, the power of the 3 annihilating strikes was already strong. With the support of the battle word secret art, the power was not weak at all. Swoosh! A meteor-like spear radiance shot out and collided with Kuang Dao's fist force. Rumble! An even more terrifying explosion occurred as the violent force swept out in all directions. Not good. Huang Qing'an's face changed as he retreated. Otherwise he would be injured by the force. Chapter 2699. In the sky, one could only see a ball of black light and a ball of purple light colliding with each other. However, after a few breaths, the black light suddenly retreated and shook violently. Bam! In the end, the black light dissipated and Crazy Dao's tall and strong body was thrown back. As he was thrown back, there were clanging sounds and sparks on the surface of his body. This was Lu Ming's remaining strength attacking the black armor on Crazy Dao's body. Boom! In the end, Crazy Dao crashed into a mountain like Lan Shang. However, his situation was much better than Lan Shang's. When he hit the mountain peak, he stomped his feet on the mountain peak. The mountain peak rumbled, cracked, and then exploded. Mad Dao used the force of the stomp to rush back into the sky. However, Crazy Dao was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. There were cracks on his black armor and blood was seeping out. How can this be? How can this be? On the other side, Huang Qing'an was trembling in fear. He couldn't believe it. Crazy Dao was ranked 5th on the Empty God list. His combat strength was almost at the peak of the Empty God realm and he had defeated many rank 1 true gods. In Kongshan School there were only a few Empty Gods who could defeat Crazy Dao. But now, in the battle between Lu Ming and Crazy Dao, Lu Ming actually had the upper hand. The clash between the two ended with Crazy Dao being injured. Moreover, Lu Ming had just entered the sect and his cultivation was far from the peak of the Empty God realm. If Lu Ming's cultivation was at the peak of the Empty God realm, how terrifying would his combat strength be? Crazy Dao is indeed powerful. Looking at Kuang Dao who was not far away, a thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he could kill an ordinary rank 9 Empty God in one move. However, his attack was blocked by Crazy Dao. However, Lu Ming knew that Crazy Dao had not used his full strength. Crazy Dao's current combat strength was not enough for him to defeat a true god. Even if they were ordinary true gods. You still have trump cards that you haven't used yet, right? Use them all. Otherwise you're no match for me. Lu Ming said nonchalantly. He was looking forward to seeing the combat strength of the person ranked 5th on the Empty God list. This was because he hadn't used his full strength either. The battle formula hadn't been activated yet. Lu Ming, it looks like I've really underestimated you. Your strength is beyond my expectations. Now then, bear the full brunt of my fury. Kuang Dao's eyes were filled with madness. His rage was about to burst out. He did not know how many years it had been since an Empty God had forced him into such a state. In Kongshan School there were only a few Empty Gods who were stronger than him. He usually did not fight with those people. He was almost invincible among the Empty Gods. But now Lu Ming had made him bleed. He wanted to return the favor 10-fold, 100-fold. Rioting skill. All of a sudden Crazy Dao let out a roar. His hair stood on end, and his aura erupted like a volcano, increasing by a large margin. This is a secret skill that temporarily increases combat strength. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Overbearing divine fist, conquering the world. Crazy Dao roared. He was like a mountain as he pressed down on Lu Ming. Both of his fists were like mountains. Lu Ming waved his long spear and spear shadows that were as thick as mountains shot out. Boom, boom. There were continuous explosions in the sky as the two of them fought fiercely. In the blink of an eye they had exchanged more than 10 blows. What an amazing secret skill. My combat strength has doubled. In the midst of the fight, Lu Ming judged that Crazy Dao's secret skill had doubled his combat strength. It was very similar to the battle formula. However, Crazy Dao's secret skill was naturally incomparable to the battle formula. For a secret skill like Crazy Dao's, there were no side effects. Moreover, its limit was to double one's combat strength. However, there was no limit to the battle formula. As Lu Ming continued to comprehend it, the power of the battle formula would become stronger. Now Lu Ming was able to triple his combat strength. In the future, it was possible for him to triple his combat strength, quadruple his combat strength, quintuple his combat strength, sixfold his combat strength, and so on. The battle formula in his sea of consciousness was like a treasure that could be unearthed endlessly. Kill, kill, kill. Crazy Dao roared. His long hair danced in the wind. His aura was wild and his killing intent was as cold as a knife. His secret skill was indeed flawed. There was a time limit. Once the time limit was up, it would drop to its previous level. Therefore, he had to kill Lu Ming before the time limit was up. Clang, clang. The two of them exchanged a few blows. The battle was intense. It seems like this is your limit. I won't waste my time with you, Lu Ming said coldly. Then the battle formula was activated. Boom. Lu Ming's combat strength increased sharply. With a sweep of his spear, he broke through Crazy Dao's fist force and sent Crazy Dao flying. How can this be? Crazy Dao was shocked. It was unbelievable. Until now, Lu Ming had not used his full strength. This kind of combat strength was abnormal. It was more abnormal than any monster he had ever seen. Apocalyptic Triple Strike Sky Piercer. After repelling Crazy Dao, Lu Ming immediately used the Apocalyptic Triple Strike. It turned into a dazzling spear light and attacked Crazy Dao. No, block it. I must block it. Facing Lu Ming's attack, Crazy Dao's face changed drastically. He felt the threat of death. The strike could very well kill him. Black Gold Secret Art. Crazy Dao roared. His body emitted a black light. A layer of black metal-like light emerged from his body. This was another kind of divine skill. It was a defensive divine skill. After using the defensive divine skill, Crazy Dao continued to punch. Finally, a huge fist force blasted towards Lu Ming. Boom. The fist force was directly dispersed. The spear light bombarded Crazy Dao's body. Crazy Dao's body shook violently. He was sent flying like a meteor. In an instant he was sent flying thousands of miles away. He vomited blood. His defensive divine skill was penetrated. The black armor on his body shattered. A big hole appeared in his chest. However, he was not dead. He managed to block Lu Ming's attack. Run. Crazy Dao only had one thought. He used his full strength and even burned his divine power. His whole body was like a ball of fire as he rushed towards the distance. His speed was astonishing. In the blink of an eye, he was tens of thousands of miles away. This guy's life-saving ability is really strong. Lu Ming shook his head slightly. He was a little surprised that he did not kill Crazy Dao in one move. However, Crazy Dao's life-saving ability was indeed strong. He used a secret technique that increased his combat strength, an offensive divine skill, a defensive divine skill, and that armor together to block Lu Ming's killing blow. Moreover, Lu Ming did not cultivate a speed-type divine skill. His speed was limited and he might not be able to catch up to Crazy Dao. Then Lu Ming looked at Huang Qingan. Baidu searching 81 Chinese network. No advertising message. Chapter 2700. Lu Ming's gaze suddenly turned towards Huang Qingan, causing Huang Qingan's face to turn pale. Lu Ming, don't kill me. Huang Qingan's face was filled with fear as his voice trembled. He had never dreamt that Crazy Dao would lose to Lu Ming and be forced to run away by Lu Ming. At this moment, his legs were trembling and he even forgot to run away. Don't kill you? You just said that you wanted to kill me. Lu Ming said coldly as a cold killing intent surged out of his body and enveloped Huang Qingan. No. Huang Qingan screamed and turned to run. Lu Ming didn't move and stabbed out with his spear. A spear light crossed thousands of miles and stabbed towards Huang Qingan. Huang Qingan's defense was pierced through like tofu. His body was pierced and blood spurted out. Lu Ming, you'll die a horrible death. The Chosen will not let you go, Huang Qingan roared and then breathed his last. Lu Ming's expression was calm. He came to the top of the half-dead Lan Shang and stabbed the other party to death while the other party was in despair. Lu Ming would never be merciful to his enemies. As long as there was a chance, he would kill until the other party trembled in fear. Let's go, Lu Ming said as he walked past Yu Linglong. Lu Ming, your strength is really shocking. You've already surpassed me. Yu Linglong followed Lu Ming's footsteps as she blinked her eyes and asked curiously, I was lucky and learned a secret technique to increase my battle strength. Lu Ming casually gave an excuse. The two continued to fly forward. However, after flying for a while, they didn't encounter a single nether dragon. Instead, they encountered quite a few nether dragons. Obviously, there were no more nether dragons in this area. Even if there were, they would have been killed by others. The two of them went deep into the nether dragon's secret realm, heading towards its depths. The terrain became more and more desolate. Brr, brr. In the distance, a thunderous roar pierced through the heavens. More than a dozen nether dragons leapt over with shocking speed. They seemed to have discovered them from far away. These nether dragons are strange. We haven't discovered them, but they seem to have discovered us from far away. Yu Linglong asked curiously. Lu Ming was also a little surprised. This was indeed the case. Several times in a row, it was always the nether dragons that took the initiative to attack them. And each time there would be 7, 8, or even a dozen. But no matter what, this was a good thing. At least they didn't have to waste time looking for it. But in the next moment, Lu Ming and the others' expressions changed. In the distance, roars and howls sounded again, rising and falling. Then, the void trembled and numerous nether dragons appeared in the distance. There were at least 100 of them. More than 100 nether dragons stepped through the air and charged towards Lu Ming and the others. Their auras were like mountains and seas. So many nether dragons, run. Yu Linglong shouted and turned to run. Her reaction was extremely fast. However, Lu Ming's reaction wasn't any slower than hers. He also turned and ran. What a joke. There were too many nether dragons. There were more than 100 of them, and each of them was invulnerable. Their only weakness was their neck. With so many nether dragons charging at them together, no matter how strong Lu Ming was, he would probably be torn apart. Brr, brr, brr. Behind them, the nether dragons roared and chased. The two sides, one running and one chasing, crossed tens of thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. Save me. Yu Linglong yelled because there were other figures in front of her. They were the other outer disciples of the Kongshan school. This guy is very unkind. This was Lu Ming's evaluation of Yu Linglong. Obviously, Yu Linglong wanted to drag others down to distract the nether dragons. Of course, Lu Ming naturally followed closely behind Yu Linglong. It's the nether dragons? Nether dragons, there are so many of them. Don't come over. When the outer disciples saw the nether dragons, they were overjoyed. However, when they saw more than 100 nether dragons charging at them, their faces turned pale. They screamed and ran. Don't run. Let's work together and fight these nether dragons. Yu Linglong yelled. It'd be strange if we didn't run. Little girl, don't come over. Scram. Those people roared and ran faster than anything else. Let's split up with them and distract the nether dragons. Lu Ming transmitted to Yu Linglong. Yu Linglong nodded and the two flew in another direction. This way, if the nether dragons were attracted by those people, the pressure on them would be much lighter. However, what they didn't expect was that the nether dragons didn't even look at them. The 100 or so nether dragons still chased after Lu Ming. Nether dragons, you can't play like this. Lu Ming was speechless. These nether dragons seemed to be fixated on them. Battle character art activate. Lu Ming's heart stirred as he constantly activated the battle formula. Not long after, he successfully activated the battle character art to triple his combat strength. After activating the triple combat strength, Lu Ming's speed increased by a notch. Let's go. Lu Ming pulled Yu Linglong and rushed forward. This way they gradually pulled away from the nether dragons. After a while, they finally shook off the nether dragons and found a quiet place to meditate and recover their divine power. After recovering their divine power, the two began to discuss. That's strange. Why are those nether dragons so fixated on us? Yu Linglong was puzzled. Lu Ming shook his head. He had no idea about this as well. Could it be that there's something on us that's attracting the nether dragons? Lu Ming said. What's attracting the nether dragons? Yu Linglong's eyes flashed, but the two couldn't think of anything on them that was attracting the nether dragons. After a while, the two left this area and continued deeper into the nether dragon mystery realm. But what made them speechless was that not long after, they attracted another group of nether dragons. They could only run. After escaping, they didn't dare to be too obvious. They carefully approached the mystery realm from another direction. This time, more than 10 nether dragons attacked them. They weren't afraid of more than 10 nether dragons. After fighting for a while, they killed the nether dragons and obtained their beast cores. In the following time, they wandered around this area. Whenever they encountered a large number of nether dragons, they would turn and run. If there were only a few, they would stop and hunt. In the blink of an eye, they had been in the Nether Dragon Mystery Realm for a month and a half. They had only been in here for 3 months. Half of it had already passed. However, they had also gained a lot. Lu Ming already had more than 200 beast cores. If converted to points, that would be more than 20,000 points. He was getting closer and closer to 50,000 points. The nether dragons in this area were attracted by them in batches and slowly killed. Finally, they had killed almost all of them. The two left this area and continued deeper into the Nether Dragon Mystery Realm. Baidu searching 81 Chinese Networko. No advertising message. Chapter 2701. A few hours later they arrived at a huge canyon. Be careful, there might be nether dragons here, Yu Linglong said softly. The two of them retracted their auras and carefully walked into the canyon. After this period of fighting, Lu Ming had a rough understanding of Yu Linglong's combat strength. This girl's combat strength was shockingly strong. Lu Ming judged that she was at least above the crazy Dao. If she was an outer disciple, she would at least be in the top 5 of the empty god list. The two of them walked forward, but they did not encounter a single nether dragon. This canyon was unusually quiet. The two of them were surprised. According to their previous experience, nether dragons usually like to stay in places like this. Soon they reached the end of the canyon. In front of the canyon was an endless plain with green grass that was taller than a person. A light breeze blew and a fragrance assailed their nostrils. The two of them arrived at the plain and walked on the grass. Sha sha sha. Suddenly there was a rustling sound in the distance. Look, what's that? Yu Linglong suddenly pointed to the front of the plain. At this moment, Lu Ming also noticed the difference. In that direction, the green grass was like a wave that was undulating and spreading towards them. There's something in the grass. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. There was something walking in the grass which caused the waves. Moreover, the range was shockingly large. Sha sha sha. The sound became clearer and clearer. The waves were moving at an extremely fast speed towards Lu Ming and Yu Linglong. That's... Lu Ming's expression changed. He could finally see clearly what was in the green grass. It was something that looked like a dragon bone. It was not big, only a meter long and half a meter tall. It was like a small dragon bone. However, on top of the dragon bone, there was a blood-red flower. The most terrifying thing was that on top of the flower, there was a large mouth full of fangs. It was terrifying. Dragon bone flower. A few words popped up in Lu Ming's mind. Their trip to the Nether Dragon Secret Realm this time had two main objectives. One was the beast core of the Netherworld Dragon, and the other was the dragon bone of the dragon bone flower. Each one was worth 100 points. However, there were simply too many dragon bone flowers. At a glance, the entire grassland was shaking. There were at least a few hundred of them. Whoosh! One of the dragon bone flowers shot toward Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. Let's test its power. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He gripped his spear and charged forward, testing out the power of the dragon bone flower. The long spear trembled as it swept towards the dragon bone flower. However, the dragon bone flower's dragon tail swept out and collided with the long spear. Dong! A violent tremor rang out as the dragon bone flower was sent flying. It smashed into the ground, wiping out a large patch of green grass. However, after shaking the flower, it stood up again, completely unharmed. However, Lu Ming's long spear was vibrating non-stop. What a powerful battle strength. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The power of this dragon bone flower was actually not any weaker than the nether dragon. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, there were at least a few dozen dragon bone flowers that charged toward Lu Ming and the others. Many of the dragon bone flowers' mouths opened and closed, biting toward them. Lu Ming's long spear constantly stabbed out, sending a few dragon bone flowers flying. However, due to a moment of carelessness, the long spear was bitten by a dragon bone flower's teeth. A row of teeth marks immediately appeared on the long spear. What a terrifying bite. This was a low-grade 9th-tier divine artifact, and it actually had teeth marks on it. Retreat! Lu Ming shouted. Together with Yu Linglong they turned and ran. There were too many dragon bone flowers. At a glance there were at least a few hundred of them. They were no match for them. Surrounded by so many dragon bone flowers, they would probably die. The two of them frantically retreated back into the valley. However, at this moment their expressions changed drastically. The reason for that was because at that moment, many figures had appeared in the ravine. Nether dragons. They were all nether dragons. At a glance, There were at least a few hundred of them, filling the valley. They had been surrounded. This was a trap. The nether dragons and dragonbone flowers had actually cooperated to dig a hole for them to jump into. Roar, roar, roar. The nether dragons roared, their eyes ferocious as they charged toward Lu Ming and the others. Charge out! Lu Ming roared. At the same time, he continuously activated the battle character art. Soon he successfully tripled his battle strength. Furthermore, his divine artifact had changed to a mid-grade first-tier divine artifact battle sword. Kill! Lu Ming roared as he slashed out, slashing the head of a nether dragon. The nether dragon was sent flying by the violent force. It collided with the other nether dragons, causing 7 to 8 of them to fly out. It was clear that Lu Ming's sword was very powerful. At the same time, Yu Linglong also attacked with all her strength. One moment, her whip was like a sword, and the next moment, it was like a spear. However, no matter how strong the two of them were, there were too many nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. Moreover, their defenses were shockingly strong. These nether dragons and dragonbone flowers charged toward the two of them as if they didn't care about their lives. Bang! Yu Linglong was careless and was swept by a dragonbone flower's tail. Her delicate body trembled as a wound appeared on her body, causing her to spit out blood. Careful! Lu Ming came to Yu Linglong's side. A scarlet gold battle armor appeared on his body. It was the divine skill 9-layered scarlet gold armor. At the same time, Lu Ming's battle sword continuously slashed out. In an instant, hundreds of sword lights shot out. However, the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers charged forward without fear of death, attacking Lu Ming. 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Although Lu Ming's battle strength was strong, he was still constantly hit. The sharp claws of the nether dragon, the fangs of the dragonbone flower, and the tail of the dragonbone flower constantly bombarded the reddish gold armor on Lu Ming's body. The reddish gold armor vibrated continuously, as if it would collapse at any time. Their situation was precarious. Die! Lu Ming attacked continuously with his sword. A few sword gleams pierced the necks of the nether dragons, killing a few of them. 2 more sword lights stood on the dragonbone flower stem and cut it in half. The dragonbone flower also died on the spot. The stem was the dragonbone flower's weakness. Once the dragonbone flower died, the scarlet-red flower would quickly wither, leaving behind a meter-long dragon bone. However, there were too many nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. They densely surrounded the two of them. The two of them couldn't charge out at all. Crack! Cracks appeared on Lu Ming's scarlet gold battle armor. A terrifying force entered Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's face paled as he spat out a mouthful of blood. The scarlet gold battle armor couldn't hold on any longer. Are we going to die here today? Yu Linglong's face was as white as snow. Impossible. How can I be killed by some mindless monsters? Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming roared. His face was filled with unyielding determination. He pushed his potential to the limit, and his divine power crazily circulated. Baidu searched on 81 Chinese network. No advertising message. Chapter 2702. Lu Ming didn't give up. He pushed his potential to the limit and fought against the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. Suddenly, his body shone with a reddish gold light. It was much brighter than before. The scarlet gold armor that had appeared on his body was originally filled with cracks, but at this moment, those cracks had all disappeared. The scarlet gold armor shone brightly, and it looked even more solid. He had broken through. The 9-layered armor had broken through at the crucial moment. Lu Ming had already cultivated the 9-layered crimson gold armor to the peak of the first layer. He had been stuck at the peak of the first layer for some time. However, at this moment after a fight, his potential was stimulated and he finally broke through. After breaking through to the second layer, the armor's defensive power had increased greatly. It had temporarily blocked those attacks. However, Lu Ming wasn't happy at all. Their defense had increased but they still couldn't break out. Their offensive power hadn't increased. They were still surrounded by the nether dragon and the dragon bone flower and were constantly attacked. Lu Ming tried his best to protect Yu Linglong. However, if this continued even with the defensive power of the crimson gold armor, it would not be able to hold on for long. It would be broken soon. Linglong. Just then a loud shout came from the sky. Rays of sword light fell, slashing at the nether dragons and dragon bone flowers beside Lu Ming. These rays of sword light were powerful. They sent many nether dragons and dragon bone flowers flying. Then a figure rushed in. It was a handsome young man in a snow-white robe. Wu Zifeng, why are you here? Why are you here? Seeing this young man, Yu Linglong was very surprised. I came to find you. I heard that you might have entered the nether dragon mystery domain, so I came to find you. My efforts didn't let me down. I finally found you. The young man rushed to Yu Linglong's side. Why are you so stupid? You rushed in to die. Be careful. Yu Linglong exclaimed. Nether dragons and dragon bone flowers were constantly attacking them. Wu Zifeng waved his sword to meet the attack. Sword light burst forth, sending a few nether dragons and dragon bone flowers flying. Such strong combat power. That's divine power. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This Wu Zifeng actually controlled Saint-grade divine power, and the power of his divine skills was also very shocking. He was only a level 9 empty god, but his combat power was far stronger than Crazy Dao. However, Wu Zifeng's name wasn't on the empty god list. The weakness of the nether dragon's neck and the dragon bone flower stalk. Lu Ming reminded them. Wu Zifeng glanced at Lu Ming and dragon bone flowers. Instantly, a few nether dragons and dragon bone flowers and dragon bone flowers and dragon bone flowers. With the addition of Wu Zifeng, the pressure on them decreased slightly. However, it was still very difficult for them to charge out. On the other side of the valley, the roars continued, making their faces turn ugly. Even more nether dragons were charging over. On the other side of the grassland, rustling sounds could be heard. More dragon bone flowers had arrived. What's going on? Why are there more and more nether dragons and dragon bone flowers? Their attacks are crazy, as if they don't care about their lives. When I first came in, I wasn't that crazy. Wu Zifeng exclaimed. It was easier for him to kill his way in. But now, it was much harder for him to kill his way out because the nether dragons and dragon bone flowers were crazy and wanted to keep them here. Looking from afar, the three of them were surrounded by the nether dragons and dragon bone flowers. There was no way out. Lu Ming was hit continuously. The crimson gold armor vibrated continuously and cracks appeared on it once again. Then more and more cracks appeared. A nether dragon's sharp claw pierced through Lu Ming's defense and scratched Lu Ming's body. It tore off a piece of flesh from Lu Ming's body. Die. Lu Ming's eyes were red as he stabbed his sword into the nether dragon's neck. Blood sprayed out and mixed with Lu Ming's blood. But at this moment something strange happened. Runes that looked like small snakes appeared on Lu Ming's body. They intertwined and covered Lu Ming's body. Nether Dragon Blood Curse. This was the Nether Dragon Blood Curse that the Kongshan School's sect master had placed on Lu Ming's body. Whoosh. The moment the Nether Dragon Blood Curse appeared, the Nether Dragon's blood was completely absorbed by the Nether Dragon Blood Curse. At this moment, Lu Ming felt a violent energy erupt from his body. At the same time, a violent evil intent filled Lu Ming's heart. Kill? Lu Ming roared and slashed out. Poof. This slash split the Nether Dragon's head in half. The Nether Dragon's defense was shocking, but at this moment, it couldn't block Lu Ming's slash. The Nether Dragon's blood was completely absorbed by the Nether Dragon Blood Curse, and Lu Ming's energy became even stronger. Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming's eyes were red and his killing intent soared. His battle sword continuously slashed out, killing several nether dragons in succession. What's going on? On the side, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were dumbfounded. How did Lu Ming's battle power suddenly increase? He became invincible. The nether dragon and dragon bone flower roared like thunder, becoming even more violent. Pairs of red eyes stared greedily at Lu Ming as if they were looking at a rare treasure. Then they crazily charged at Lu Ming, completely ignoring Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong. I understand now. These nether dragons and dragon bone flowers are crazily attacking us because of the curse on his body. Yu Linglong suddenly shouted. Indeed, what a strange curse. Just what kind of curse is this? It looks incomparably evil. Wu Zifeng also frowned. No, he's about to be drowned. Let's go save him. Yu Linglong shouted, wanting to save Lu Ming. Don't come over. You guys go charge out first. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice rang out. Now Lu Ming also understood what was going on. These nether dragons and dragon bone flowers were all attacking them because of Lu Ming. More accurately, it was because of the Nether Dragon Blood Curse. It could be said that they were completely attracted by the Nether Dragon Blood Curse. It was no wonder they didn't even need to look for nether dragons on their way here. There were so many nether dragons coming for them. Nether Dragon Blood Curse, Nether Dragon Secret Realm, Nether Dragon Beasts, Dragon Bone Flowers. There was definitely a connection between all of these. No, we came together. If we have to leave together. Yu Linglong shouted. If you stay here you'll only be a hindrance. You guys go first. I have a way to charge out. Lu Ming roared and slashed his sword, killing a nether dragon. Once the nether dragon died, the nether dragon blood curse absorbed its blood, causing Lu Ming's energy to become even more berserk. But Lu Ming had a faint feeling that this wasn't a good thing. After absorbing the nether dragon's blood, the nether dragon blood curse would most likely become even stronger. If he wanted to break free from it, it would become even more difficult. Baidu Search Translator, Zefizi Editor, Zefizo. No advertisement. Chapter 2703. However, they couldn't care about that now. They had to get out first. Linglong, he's right. Let's get out first. He might be able to escape, Wu Zifeng said to Yu Linglong. Let's go. Lu Ming roared. Lu Ming, you have to get out. Yu Linglong gritted her teeth and rushed in another direction with Wu Zifeng. As expected, the nether dragon and dragon bone flower didn't care about them. They easily got out of the canyon and arrived at a mountain peak outside. They looked from afar and waited for Lu Ming. They waited for more than 10 minutes. Why isn't he out yet? Yu Linglong was anxious. He's out. Suddenly Wu Zifeng's eyes flashed. In the canyon a figure was rushing over. It was Lu Ming. At this moment Lu Ming was covered in blood. His entire body was covered in the nether dragon blood curse. As soon as he got out of the canyon, he turned into a ray of light and rushed into the distance. Brr, brr. Behind him, the nether dragon and dragon bone flower chased after him like a tide. However, they were slower than Lu Ming. Let's follow him. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng followed from another direction. The nether dragon and dragon bone flower weren't as fast as Lu Ming and soon lost him. They slowly stopped and retreated. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng flew. After a while they finally found Lu Ming. At this moment Lu Ming was lying in a small stream unconscious. On his body, the nether dragon blood curse was like small snakes swimming around. Slowly it disappeared. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng brought Lu Ming to a cave and waited patiently. This is a disciple of your Kongshan school? His strength is really shocking. Wu Zifeng sized up Lu Ming and said. It is indeed shocking. Moreover, he just joined not long ago. Yu Linglong said. Just joined not long ago? Wu Zifeng's eyes widened in surprise. The two chatted as they waited. A few hours later Lu Ming finally woke up. Bang. When Lu Ming woke up, his first feeling was intense pain all over his body. Lu Ming got up, took out a few healing elixirs and swallowed them. He began to refine the medicinal effects to recover. A few days later, Lu Ming finally adjusted his condition to peak condition. The injuries on his body had also fully recovered. Lu, are you alright? Yu Linglong. I'm fine now. Thank you for your help. Lu Ming smiled. He had fainted outside previously. If Yu Linglong and the rest were not around, it would have been very dangerous. He might have died under the fangs of the nether dragon. I should be the one thanking you. Yu Linglong hurriedly said. That's right. We should be thanking you. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to break out of the encirclement of the nether dragon and the dragon bone flower. Wu Zifeng also hurriedly stepped forward and held Yu Linglong's hand. He looked at Lu Ming warily. Yu Linglong blushed slightly and said, Lu Ming, let me introduce you. This is my fiancé Wu Zifeng. I see. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. So Wu Zifeng was Yu Linglong's fiancé. No wonder he risked his life to save her, and no wonder he was wary of him. However, Wu Zifeng's character should be considered pretty good. If other people saw their fiancé together with other people, they would probably reveal killing intent. Moreover, he could see that Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong's relationship was not bad. Of course, he would not be narcissistic enough to think that Yu Linglong had approached him because she was interested in him. It was more likely out of curiosity. Brother Wu, you're too polite. I'm only letting you go because I'm confident. Lu Ming smiled. By the way, Brother Lu, what's with the curse on your body? Wu Zifeng changed the topic. Lu Ming knew that Wu Zifeng was asking about the nether dragon blood curse. However, the nether dragon blood curse was created by the Kongshan school's sect master. Lu Ming naturally could not reveal it. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. I accidentally found it when I was exploring an ancient ruin. There was nothing strange about it, but I don't know why it acted up today. Lu Ming casually lied. I see. Brother Lu, I feel that this curse is extremely evil. It's bad for you after a long time. You should think of a way to get rid of it, Wu Zifeng suggested. His expression was sincere, and it did not seem like he was putting on an act. Thank you, Brother Wu, for your reminder, Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, I feel that those nether dragons and dragon bone flowers are here for your curse. We should be careful in the future to avoid being surrounded, Yu Linglong said. It's a pity that we're still too weak. Otherwise we could kill a large number of nether dragons and obtain points, Lu Ming said. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? Yu Linglong's eyes lit up. My cultivation has already reached the peak of the empty god realm. I didn't break through because I wanted to enter the nether dragon secret territory. However, I can break through after entering this place. I can break through to the true god realm now. Once I reach the true god realm, it will be much easier to kill nether dragons. That's right. I can break through to the true god realm too. Wu Zifeng nodded. Alright, then we'll cultivate here for a while. After we break through, we'll go hunt nether dragons. Lu Ming's eyes also lit up. Alright, we'll work together. We'll split the beast cores and dragon bones equally, Yu Linglong said. The three of them discussed and started to cultivate. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng started to break through to the true god realm. On the other hand, Lu Ming began to cultivate in another direction. His cultivation had just broken through to level 5 empty god realm. It was basically impossible for him to break through in a short period of time. The only way he could increase his strength was through the divine skills and the battle word formula. Lu Ming realized that after the previous battle, not only had he broken through to the 9th layer crimson gold armor, but he had also made great progress in the 3 strikes of extinction and the battle word formula. Lu Ming felt that the battle word formula needed to be activated about 8 times to triple his combat strength. The success rate had increased to 1 in 8. The 3 strikes of extinction was not far from breaking through to the 2nd layer. It seemed like it could break through at any time. Lu Ming immediately focused on the 3 strikes of extinction. Indeed, half a month later, the 3 strikes of extinction successfully broke through and reached the 2nd layer. The 3 strikes of extinction had reached the 2nd layer, and its attack power had undoubtedly increased by a large margin. With Lu Ming's current cultivation coupled with the 2nd layer of the 3 strikes of extinction, the 9th layer crimson gold armor, and the tripling of his combat strength, Lu Ming's strength would reach a shocking level. If he met Mad Dao again, he would be able to crush his opponent in one move if he went all out. At that moment, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's auras were getting stronger and stronger. Time flew by and another half a month passed. Boom, boom. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's auras exploded at the same time. The two of them broke through to the true god realm at almost the same time. Baidu searching 81 Chinese network. No advertising message. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.